Chapter 2038, Wanna Kill Lu Ming. Chapter 2038, Wanna Kill Lu Ming. His name is Lu Ming. Luo Xian introduced Lu Ming. Princess Luo Xian, what is your relationship with this man? The young prince asked. He's my guest. Young prince, do you know Lu Ming? Luo Xian also felt that something was amiss and asked. So he's just a guest. Princess Luo Xian, can you hand him over to me? The young prince's eyes flickered, and the killing intent in them grew even stronger. Young prince, he is my guest, so I have to be responsible for him. Why do you want me to hand him over to you? Luo Xian's brows furrowed even more as he asked. The other young men seemed to have sensed that something was amiss as well, and they held their breaths, not even daring to take a deep breath. Kill! The young prince spoke coldly, his killing intent bursting forth without restraint. This person must die. Young prince, is there a misunderstanding here? Luo said. He secretly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming and asked, Lu Ming, when did you offend Song Yan? Song Yan was the name of the young prince. It's my first time seeing him. Lu Ming frowned and sent a voice transmission to Princess Luo Xian. He was also baffled. He had never seen Song Yan before, so he really didn't understand why Song Yan wanted to kill him as soon as he saw him. Misunderstanding? Any direct descendant of the Azure Demon King's palace will have a mark on their body. As long as they are killed, this mark will attach itself to the murderer. One can feel the mark of my Azure Demon King's palace on his body. Is this a misunderstanding? Song Yan coldly said. Everyone's heart moved as they understood. Lu Ming had killed a direct descendant of the Ashen Demon King's residence. The other party's mark was attached to his body and Song Yan could sense it. It was no wonder that Song Yan wanted to kill Lu Ming the moment he saw him. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. He suddenly recalled that not long after he came to the land of infinite demons, he was cultivating somewhere when a group of people went to snatch the demon origin fruit and he killed them in the end. One of them was a young man who had shouted out that he was from the eternal devil nation. Could that man be a direct descendant of the Azure Demon King's residence? This was too much of a coincidence. Moreover, he had seen the mark of the Azure Demon King's residence before. The Thousand Kill Manor was a terrifying assassin organization. As long as one killed a member of the Thousand Kill Manor, there would be a killing mark attached to one's body. Back then, Lu Ming had to ask the palace master of Phoenix Palace to remove it. The mark of the Azure Demon King's residence was very similar to the mark of the Thousand Kills residence. Luo Xian frowned and said, Young prince, is there a mistake? Definitely not. A few months ago, one of my younger cousins was killed while training outside. It should be this person who killed him. Luo Xian, this person is only a guest elder. You should stay out of this matter. Song Yan said, then waved his hand. Buzz. Behind Song Yan, a young man rushed out, and a sword light bloomed as he charged towards Lu Ming. The sword light was cold. This was a sword to cut the throat. Judge. Luo Xian said softly as he struck out with the power of judgment, crushing his opponent's sword light. Princess Luo Xian, you want to protect this man? Do you think it's worth it to fall out with my Azure Demon King's residence for a guest elder? Song Yan's face sank, revealing a threatening tone. A few months ago, I did kill someone. However, that person wanted to fight for a treasure and attacked me without any explanation. How could one not retaliate? At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. I see. Young prince, it's normal for anyone to be killed in the land of myriad demons when they're out training and fighting for treasures. In the land of infinite demons, strength speaks for itself. If one's strength is inferior to others, taking revenge now would be a joke. Luo Xian said coldly, not backing down an inch. In the land of 10,000 demons, there was constant killing. Martial arts were respected, and the weak were prey to the strong. No matter who it was better to be prepared to be killed when training outside. This was the rule of the land of myriad demons. My cousin has several Emperor-to-be followers. How many Emperor-to-be can he deal with? He probably used some despicable means to harm my cousin. How about this, let him fight with me. If he can withstand 10 moves from me and not lose, I will acknowledge his strength. Song Yan coldly said. In his opinion, Lu Ming was merely a guest master of Luo Xian. How strong could he be? Behind Song Yan, some of the young men sneered. Song Yan was one of the top geniuses in the Eternal Demon Nation. His battle prowess was absolutely terrifying. Not only did he have a king body, but his cultivation had also reached the absolute saint perfection long ago. How could Lu Ming withstand 10 moves from Song Yan? He would probably be killed by Song Yan in one exchange. This was Song Yan's goal. As long as he made a move against Lu Ming, he would be able to kill Lu Ming with a legitimate reason. Luo Xian's eyes flickered. Although Song Yan was powerful, Lu Ming could even defeat Ji Tian. He was definitely not weaker than Song Yan. Wouldn't it be easy for him to withstand 10 moves? Alright, one agree. Lu Ming stepped out and said indifferently. He actually dared to agree. It seems that this kid doesn't know how powerful Song Yan is. Many people had the same thought. However, some people also had the mentality of watching a show. This kid is really looking for death. Some of the youths behind Song Yan revealed playful smiles. Song Yan's eyes flashed with a cold light. Princess Luo Xian, since he has already agreed, please do not interfere. I won't interfere. One hope that young prince will keep his word. After saying that, Luo Xian returned to the table. You mean what you say? This little girl, could it be that she thinks that this kid can block 10 of my moves? Where is your confidence coming from? The corners of the young prince's lips curled into a cold smile. Then he turned to Lu Ming, his killing intent even colder. Anyone who dared to kill the people of the Azure Demon King's residence would definitely die. He wanted to kill the chicken to warn the monkeys in front of all the people from the small countries today and make them fear him even more. Let's fight in the sky. Lu Ming said. I don't need to go to the sky to deal with you. One move is enough. Song Yan sneered before pointing out a finger. Buzz. This finger was like a long spear, piercing through the void and letting out a terrifying whistling sound. This finger was highly condensed. However, Lu Ming did not even look at it. He pointed his finger and runes shone on it. Bang! The two fingers collided with a loud boom. The terrifying force overturned many tables and chairs around them. Many people retreated in fear to avoid the scattered force. Song Yan's figure was pushed back 2 steps and was actually at a disadvantage. Array Dao laws, you have a king physique. Song Yan roared. So, it's the law of penetration. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He was very familiar with this law. Luo Pokong of the Daoyuo Heaven sect also controlled this law, but he had already been killed by Lu Ming. Like one said, we're going to fight in the sky. Lu Ming spoke indifferently, causing Song Yan's face to turn extremely dark and his killing intent to turn incomparably cold. Just now, he was full of confidence and said that he could kill Lu Ming in one move without having to fly high up in the air. However, the truth was a slap to his face. Let's go up and fight. Song Yan said coldly. Like a divine spear, he shot into the sky. Lu Ming also stepped into the air. Chapter 2039. You've lost? Chapter 2039. You've lost. Kill. As soon as he soared into the sky, Song Yan launched an attack at Lu Ming. His fingers were like a spear, constantly pointing out. With the support of the law of penetration, the power was terrifyingly strong and could penetrate everything. The spear's gleam was aimed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and did the same. Countless runes filled the air and condensed into lightning birds. They pounced at the spear lights at an astonishing speed and blocked them. So strong, so this person also has a king physique. No wonder she can sit side by side with Princess Luo Xian. Some of the heaven's favorites from the smaller countries exclaimed. 2 moves. Lu Ming said indifferently in the sky. Kill. Song Yan used his third attack, and his cultivation in the absolute Saint Great Circle was unleashed. An even more terrifying finger force was aimed at Lu Ming. Song Yan's attack method was very similar to Luo Pokong's, but the magical technique they used was different. However, Song Yan's battle strength was much stronger than Luo Pokong's. A terrifying force whizzed towards Lu Ming, but it was still blocked by Lu Ming's finger. 3 moves. Lu Ming continued to speak calmly and nonchalantly. Die. Song Yan's eyes became colder and colder. A ring of light emerged from his body and surrounded him. The light of law. Many people took in a deep breath. Song Yan's battle prowess was indeed terrifying. As the top genius of the eternal devil nation, he was able to suppress the other king physiques. It was said that in the entire eternal demon nation, apart from the Son of God, no one was a match for Song Yan. Kill! A spear appeared in Song Yan's hand, and when combined with the light of law, its power reached a shocking level. 3 scrolls in 1. Lu Ming pointed a finger, and a true dragon roared and pounced at Song Yan. This true dragon contained the Annihilation Scroll, Illusionary Spirit Scroll, and Sealing Scroll. The 3 scrolls were combined into one. Boom! With a loud boom, the spear in Song Yan's hand trembled as his body trembled violently. He was forced to retreat by a terrifying force. Song Yan was actually at a disadvantage. Below, other than the people from the Yuluo Devil Kingdom, everyone else was dumbfounded. Some of them even rubbed their eyes, thinking that they were seeing things. Song Yan suppressed the other king physiques and stood at the peak. As long as the Son of Heaven didn't appear, he was almost invincible. But now, he was at a disadvantage because of Lu Ming. Who was this Lu Ming? How could a random person be so terrifying? They were speechless. Just this bit of strength? You wanted to defeat me in 10 moves? What a joke, now it's my turn. Let's go, Lu Ming said indifferently as he stepped forward. Countless runes soared into the sky and turned into 9 dragons. This time, it wasn't a real dragon, but 9 dragons. The 9 dragons flew towards Song Yan. To be honest, Song Yan was very strong, even stronger than Ji Tian. Song Yan was almost at the peak of the absolute saint realm, and his nomological laws had reached 99%. He was only 1 step away from the emperor to be realm. However, compared to Lu Ming, even if Lu Ming did not use the law of chaos, he was still lacking. As the 9 dragons pounced out, Song Yan's expression changed drastically, and he stabbed out with his spear with all his strength. The 9 dragons roared and continuously struck out with their claws, destroying Song Yan's attack. The terrifying destructive power and countless symbols surged towards Song Yan. Song Yan's figure madly retreated, continuously retreating 10,000 meters before regaining his balance. His body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. You've lost, Lu Ming said indifferently. His voice was not loud, but it was like a heavy blow that hit Song Yan, causing him to spit out another mouthful of blood. Lu Ming's short 3 words were filled with sarcasm. Just a moment ago, Song Yan was still insufferably arrogant and said that he would defeat Lu Ming in 10 moves. In fact, he had only casually mentioned 10 moves. In his opinion, 1 move would be enough to defeat or even kill Lu Ming. But now, in less than 10 moves, he was the one who lost to Lu Ming. Kill! Song Yan roared. Boom, boom. From the depths of the palace, 2 figures rushed out. Their terrifying auras bloomed, causing everyone's faces to change. They were 2 martial sovereigns. Song Yan was going to send out a martial supreme to kill Lu Ming. Song Yan, you're going back on your word. Luo Xian soared into the sky and arrived in front of Lu Ming, glaring at Song Yan. Move! He shouted. Song Yan's expression was a little sinister. Today, in front of so many people from small countries, Lu Ming had made him lose face. He wanted to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. As for all of this, he had asked for it, but he would not consider it. It was all Lu Ming's fault. How could it be his? Song Yan, you can't win, so you sent out a martial sovereign. If this matter gets out, I'm afraid it'll be a disgrace to your reputation. Even the reputation of the Azure Demon King Palace will be affected. Luo Xian stood firmly in front of Lu Ming and continued, Moreover, even if you must make a move today, you'll have to do it over my dead body. Lu Ming is my guest elder. I can't just watch him be killed. Song Yan's expression became even uglier. Luo Xian's words had indeed caused him to be apprehensive. One was his reputation, and the other was Luo Xian's identity. Luo Xian was the princess of the Yuluo Devil Kingdom. The Yuluo Devil Kingdom was not an ordinary small kingdom. It was one of the top 5 upper-class devil kingdoms under the Eternal Devil Kingdom. As such, he was very apprehensive. Song Yan hesitated. "Lu Ming, let's go." Luo Xian sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming, then turned around and left the Azure Demon King's residence. Wu Shi and the others followed him quickly. Song Yan's expression changed a few times, but in the end he didn't give the order to attack. Lu Ming and the rest left the Ashen Demon King's residence and returned to their residence. I didn't expect that person to be from the Vicissitude House. Lu Ming was also quite speechless. Initially, he had wanted to get to know the imperial family of the Eternal Devil Nation through Luo Xian's recommendation. Who would have thought that he would offend the young prince of the Azure Demon King's residence the moment he arrived? It seems like I can only wait for the banquet of the king of the Eternal Devil Nation. He'll have to find an opportunity when all the geniuses are sparring. Lu Ming thought in his heart. Lu Ming, there's no need to think too much. The Ashen Demon Palace isn't the only paragon of the imperial family in the Eternal Demon Nation. I'll introduce you to the others in a few days. Luo Xian comforted Lu Ming. Many thanks. Lu Ming looked at Luo Xian and smiled. Luo Xian's unwavering determination to stand in front of him had touched him. Luo Xian was a genuine person, and he was much stronger than Yu Ning. Over the next few days, Luo Xian introduced a few royal family members to Lu Ming. However, although they were quite talented, they were still lacking compared to Song Yan. There were a few times when Lu Ming tried to find out more about the eternal demonic coffin. However, the other party did not know much about it. He only knew that it was the treasure of the eternal demonic nation and that only the king could control it. Lu Ming frowned. He was troubled. The ancient demon coffin was so important that only the king could control it. Could he really borrow it for a month? The king of the ancient devil nation was an emperor. Such a person was high and mighty, even higher than the average great emperor. Why would he care about him? Chapter 2040, The Ancient Emperor. Chapter 2040, The Ancient Emperor. More than 10 days later, the monarch's banquet officially began. In the center of the capital of the ancient devil nation, a majestic palace suddenly appeared in the sky. The palace shone brightly and could be seen from far away. The palace was 9 stories high, like a divine palace. There was a jade staircase in each of the 4 directions of the palace. It extended from the top of the palace to the bottom. The guests who went to congratulate him went up the jade stairs from the 4-sided palace to the 9th level of the palace. Lu Ming and the people from the Yuluo demonic kingdom went up the jade stairs on the east side. What a magnificent palace! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. This 9-story palace was too huge. It was 100,000 feet tall and pierced through the depths of the sky. Even this jade staircase was huge. A person standing on it was like an ant. In this direction, people kept coming up the jade stairs to congratulate him. The ancient devil nation was one of the 2 super devil nations in the land of 10,000 devils. Almost half of the devil nations, big and small, would come to congratulate them. Naturally, the number of people would be shocking. Lu Ming and the group walked up the jade stairs and spent half an hour before they reached the highest point and arrived at the 9th level of the hall. The 9th level of the palace was open air and extremely wide. There were all kinds of sacred medicines and strange flowers planted everywhere, and the fragrance assailed the nose. This area was already filled with tables and chairs. The Yuluo Devil Kingdom was one of the 5 great exalted kingdoms. As soon as they arrived, someone led them to a higher position. The location of this area was also very particular. The height was different, and the levels were higher. The lowest terrain was where the people of the lower-class devil nations sat. The second-ranked devil nations were the middle-ranked devil nations. Above them were the 5 high-ranked devil nations. At the very top were the experts of the ancient devil nation and the nobles. Brother Luo! Brother Luo! When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, there were already some people there. They greeted the Luo family master one after another. These people were the kings of other high-ranked devil nations, and they all had prominent identities. Now that the Luo family was in control of the Yuluo Devil Kingdom, they naturally greeted the head of the Luo family. At the side, the Yu family's master snorted coldly. De led Yu Ning, Ji Tian, and the others to find a random seat. Following that, more and more people arrived, and the vast space was almost full. The country ruler has arrived. A voice resounded through the entire place, and everyone quieted down. The king of this place was naturally the king of the eternal devil nation. A group of people came from the sky and landed on the highest point. The person in the lead was a burly old man in a purple and gold robe. He had a smile on his face, and although he did not reveal any aura, he had a supreme majesty. "We pay our respects to the ancient emperor." Everyone bowed in respect. The king of every generation of the ancient devil nation was addressed as the ancient emperor. "Everyone, please sit." The ancient emperor waved his hand and everyone took their seats. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the crowd and noticed that there were many people around the ancient emperor. Some were older, while others were from the younger generation. Many of them had powerful auras and were extremely terrifying. There was no doubt that there was a great emperor among them. There was definitely more than one great emperor in the ancient devil nation. Song Yan. Lu Ming saw Song Yan in the crowd behind the ancient emperor. At this moment, Song Yan's eyes were also on the Yuluo demonic kingdom. When he saw Lu Ming, a cold, killing intent flashed in his eyes. "Yan, the person you're talking about is that kid?" Beside the ancient emperor, there was a skinny old man with white hair who was transmitting a message to Song Yan. This person was Song Yan's grandfather, the Song Demon King. "Grandpa, it's this person?" Song Yan nodded. "Yes, I understand." The hidden Demon King nodded and didn't continue speaking. His face was calm, and no one could tell what he was thinking. The Tianyu Devil Kingdom congratulates the ancient emperor on surviving the Great Tribulation and obtaining eternal life. At this moment, the monarch of the Heaven Devil Kingdom stood up to congratulate the ancient emperor and presented him with gifts. The Yuluo Demonic Kingdom congratulates the ancient emperor for overcoming his tribulation. You can look forward to becoming the heavenly emperor. The master of the Luo family also sent a congratulatory gift. Following that, the rulers of the devil nations came forward to offer their congratulations and congratulatory gifts. Starting from the 5 high-rank devil nations, it was the turn of the low-rank devil nations. "Thank you for coming today. Please sit." The ancient emperor's voice rang out. Following that, the maidservants brought out all sorts of fine wine and delicacies. After that, a peerlessly enchanting witch came forward to perform the demonic dance, and the atmosphere of the scene became warm. "Great Emperor, there are so many geniuses in this world. Why don't we let the younger generation have a friendly match?" Zhao Feng suggested. Someone suggested. This was something that would happen every time the ancient emperor transcended a tribulation of the heavens and earth. Some people were looking forward to it. One also want to see how outstanding the geniuses of this generation are. One heard that there's more than one son of God in this generation, and there are even more king bodies. The ancient emperor laughed. "That's right. This generation is indeed full of geniuses, more than any previous era." The Azure Demon King said, "Oh, if that's the case, I'll change the rewards this time as well. The top 3 can make a request to me, and I'll try my best to fulfill it if it's something that only one can do. The top 10 can also receive a reward." The ancient emperor's voice reverberated in all directions. Many people's eyes were burning with desire. The top 3 could make a request to the great emperor. This was too tempting. Furthermore, the rewards that the top 10 would receive would definitely not be small. The reward this time was also better than before. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. The top 3 could make a request of the ancient emperor. If he were to get into the top 3, he would be able to borrow the eternal demonic coffin from the ancient emperor. Since the emperor had said it himself, he probably wouldn't reject it. Moreover, it was only for a month. I must enter the top 3. Lu Ming's fists were clenched tightly. Even though he did not know how strong the Son of Heaven from the eternal devil nation was, Lu Ming believed that if he were to go all out, he should be able to get into the top 3. Alright, then let the Azure Demon King take charge of this round of sparring. The ancient emperor laughed. He didn't need to manage such a matter personally. He could leave it to others. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The Azure Demon King stood up and took a step forward, arriving in the air outside the palace. With a wave of his hand, a platform floated up. Then, the platform expanded rapidly, turning into a fighting ring with a length and width of 100 miles. The height of the fighting ring was slightly lower than the palace. Sitting on it, one could see the situation on the fighting ring very well. Young people who wish to participate in the sparring can register first and leave behind your name. The Azure Demon King said before calling for a few people to register the information. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Immediately, young people flew forward one by one to register. There were too many people. In an instant, hundreds of people went up. Who do you guys think will enter the top 3 this time? That goes without saying. The 2 sons of God will definitely enter the top 3. That's right. 2 of the top 3 are the sons of God, so there will definitely be a spot for them. The key is who will be able to obtain the other spot. Song Yen and Lu Su are both very likely. Many people in the surroundings began to discuss. Chapter 2041. Chapter 2041. Cannot participate. Chapter 2041. Chapter 2041 cannot participate. The registration process was very quick. All they had to do was register their names, so the turn was also very quick. Soon after, Lu Ming, Luo Xian, and the others also went to register. Stop! Suddenly, a cold voice was heard. A figure stood in front of Lu Ming. Gang Yan. Lu Ming frowned. What was Tsang Yen trying to do? Lu Ming, you're not qualified to take part in the competition. You may leave. Tsang Yen looked down at Lu Ming from above, his eyes cold and filled with killing intent. Many people looked over with curiosity, including the experts of the older generation in their seats. Tsang Yen, what do you mean? If he's not qualified, then you're not qualified either. Don't forget that you were defeated by Lu Ming a few days ago. Luo Xian took a step forward, glaring at Tsang Yen as she shouted. What? Tsang Yen was defeated? Really? This is the young man? Me looks so ordinary. Many people were shocked. They looked at Lu Ming in bewilderment. In the eternal devil nation and the many other devil nations under its rule, other than the Son of God, Tsang Yen was the most powerful heaven's favorite, and almost no one could defeat him. This person had actually defeated Tsang Yen? What was his background? After all, the heaven's favorites that Tsang Yen had invited were only a small portion of the people present. Many of them did not know about the battle between Lu Ming and Tsang Yen. The paragons who were present at that time were afraid of offending Tsang Yen, so they did not say anything after they returned. Therefore, not many people knew that Lu Ming had defeated Tsang Yen. When Luo Xian said that, everyone was naturally shocked. Many people even doubted whether what Luo Xian said was true. Even many of the older generation looked at Lu Ming with curiosity. To be able to defeat Tsang Yen was no small matter. Such a heaven's favorite would definitely have great achievements in the future and was naturally worth paying attention to. Tsang Yan's face turned extremely gloomy. Luo Xian didn't give him any face at all, directly revealing his defeat in public. During this period of time, I've sent people to investigate this person, but there are no clues at all. We can't find out this person's origin at all. This person's origin is unknown, so he doesn't have the qualifications to participate in the competition. Tsang Yen shouted. The purpose of this competition is to celebrate the great emperor's victory. As for what kind of background it has, what does it matter? Luo Xian argued. His background is unknown. Who knows what he is planning? Tsang Yen sneered. Great Emperor, how should we do this? The Ashen Demon King asked the ancient emperor for instructions. I've already handed this matter over to you. You have full authority to handle it. The ancient emperor waved his hands. He wasn't interested in the conflict between the younger generation. Standing at his height, he only had the attitude of watching a show. He would only pay attention to the Son of God. Yes, great emperor. The Ashen Demon King saluted, and with a flash, he appeared above Lu Ming and the others. What's going on? The Azure Demon King spoke in an imposing manner. It's like this. Luo Xian spoke first and explained the situation. The great emperor has just passed a great tribulation. It's a grand event that only happens once every 300,000 years. There can't be any mistakes. You may leave. The Azure Demon King looked at Lu Ming and waved his hand. Lu Ming frowned and Luo Xian's expression turned ugly. The Azure Demon King was not allowing Lu Ming to participate in the competition. Song Yan sneered. Not far away, Yuning, Ji Tian, and the others also revealed gloating smiles. Your Highness, I did defeat Song Yan, but you can't protect him because of this. Lu Ming said. His voice was so loud that it spread in all directions. His meaning was obvious. Song Demon King was deliberately making things difficult for him because of Song Yan. Impudent. What's with your attitude? How dare you doubt this king? The Ashen Demon King bellowed, his body exuding a terrifying aura as he glared at Lu Ming. Your background is unknown. I'm already being kind by not taking you down on the spot. If you still dare to speak, don't blame this king for being impolite if you don't leave. The scene was silent. No one said anything. The head of the Luo family felt that the Azure Demon King had gone too far. The Azure Demon King had great authority in the Eternal Devil Nation, and there was no need for him to offend the Azure Demon King over this matter. It was just that he couldn't participate in the competition. In his opinion, it was a small matter. However, this was a big deal for Lu Ming as it concerned the ancient demonic coffin. However, it was obvious that the Azure Demon King would not give him the chance. The ancient emperor looked on indifferently. Even though he also felt that the Azure Demon King had gone overboard, he wouldn't say anything more since he had already let the Azure Demon King take charge. Still not retreating. The Azure Demon King shouted again. His terrifying aura pressed down on Lu Ming like a tidal wave, forcing him to retreat. He was under immense pressure. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly and was extremely unwilling. But in the end, Lu Ming still retreated. The strength of the Azure Demon King was shockingly strong. Even if he wasn't a great emperor, he was at least a peak true emperor expert. He couldn't do it by force, so he had to think of another way. Song Yan's mouth curled into a sneer. He did not allow Lu Ming to participate for two reasons. One was to take revenge on Lu Ming. The second reason was that Lu Ming's abilities were too shocking. If Lu Ming were to participate, he would have no hope of getting into the top 3. The registration continued. It took half a day for the registration to end. After the registration ended, the competition began. The 2-on-1 matches were very intense. However, all of this had nothing to do with Lu Ming. He sat in his seat and drank while thinking about his next step. He was thinking about how he could borrow the eternal demonic coffin for a month. It was normal for martial arts powerhouses, or even those who had reached the sage realm, to sit there for a few months. Therefore, the competition went on one after another. In a flash, a few days had passed. After a few days of competition, most of the people had been eliminated, leaving only a few dozen people. These dozens of people were all extremely talented, and many of them even had king physiques. The land of infinite demons is indeed a place to fight. The overall standard of the geniuses is even stronger than the Yuan Mountain. Towards the end, Lu Ming also focused his attention and observed. He realized that the number of heaven's favorites in the land of infinite demons was about the same as in the distant mountains, but the quality was higher. For example, the average cultivation of the land of infinite demons was higher than the Yuan Mountain. Many of them had reached absolute saint cultivation. Some of them had even reached the peak or perfected absolute saint. For example, Luo Xian had a king body in the great circle of the absolute saint stage, but she didn't have any advantage over these geniuses. There were at least 20 to 30 people who weren't weaker than her. This wasn't even all of the geniuses in the land of infinite demons. It could only be half. There were so many powerful geniuses. It was as if they had reached the great circle of the absolute saint realm. It was shocking. However, in the past few years, after the cultivation and competition in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, as well as the battle with the evil god tribe, many people's cultivation bases had risen. Many powerful king bodies had reached the peak of absolute saint or perfected absolute saint. Chapter 2042, The People from the Immortal Demon Nation. Chapter 2042, The People from the Immortal Demon Nation. The competition continued. Two young men caught Lu Ming's attention. This was because these two people were exceptionally powerful. They were the sons of God. Child of the void, child of death. Lu Ming muttered. One of the two sons of God controlled the void law, which was also one of the 10 ultimate laws. It was extremely terrifying and could turn everything into nothingness. The other person actually mastered the law of death, just like the death blade. Today was indeed a golden age. In the past, it was already amazing for a son of God to appear. But now, they were appearing frequently, and different people had successfully cultivated the same law. This was only the Yuan Mountain and the land of myriad demons. One had to know that there were 10 lands in the primordial realm. One could imagine that there would be more than one child of God. It was easy to imagine that if the death blade met this person, a great battle would probably break out. Apart from these two, Song Yan's strength was indeed very strong. He was undefeatable and was a popular candidate for the top 3. After a few days of intense battles, all the rankings were out. Luo Xian and Yu Ning were ranked at the 22nd place. They had not even made it into the top 20. As for Ji Tian, he had cultivated the light of law and was indeed powerful. He overcame all obstacles and charged into the top 10, ranking 6th. After all, there were very few people who could cultivate the light of laws in a king's body. As for Song Yan, after a series of battles, he had finally defeated his competitor and obtained 3rd place. The first and second were naturally the two sons of God. The two sons of God had reached the perfected absolute saint realm and were very close to the emperor-to-be realm. They had also cultivated the light of laws and were extremely powerful. They were high above everyone else and were invincible. The most exciting part was the battle between the two sons of God, which pushed the atmosphere to the peak. The void law and the death law collided. Both laws were extremely overbearing, and their cultivation levels were similar. It took 1,000 moves before the victor was decided. In the end, the son of death won by a hair's breadth due to his mastery of nomological laws and his close proximity to an emperor-to-be. Amazing, amazing! Is this the battle power of the Son of Heaven? It's really terrifying. Luo Xian blinked his large eyes in amazement. The Son of God is indeed powerful. Below the martial emperor realm, ordinary warriors are no match for the Son of God in a battle of the same level. It's useless no matter how strong their combat strength is. Yu Ning also sighed and glanced at Lu Ming. What he meant was that if he wasn't the Son of God, no matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be a match for the Son of God. Lu Ming smiled faintly, sighing in his heart. If he were to make a move, he would definitely be able to enter the top 3. Although the two sons of God were strong, he was not afraid. What a pity! Lu Ming sighed. He picked up a glass of wine and finished it in one gulp. Yu Ning thought that Lu Ming had realized the difference between him and the Son of God and thus had such an expression. He sneered immediately. The top 3 can make a request to me. You may step forward. The voice of the ancient emperor rang out. The two sons of God and Song Yan stepped forward. At this moment, Song Yan was extremely excited. He had to make a request to the great emperor and make use of it to its greatest value. Do you want an ancient scripture, or do you want to take the opportunity to become the great emperor's disciple? Song Yan's mind spun rapidly as he trembled with excitement. Haha, it's so lively today. 111 join in the fun. At this moment, a loud laugh reverberated through the sky. Boom, boom, boom. Then, the sky rumbled, as if a giant creature was about to break through the void. Many experts' faces darkened as they looked into the distance. Selah. The next moment, the void cracked open, and a huge warship sailed out of the dark void. The battleship was 10,000 meters long and completely black, giving off a terrifying pressure. This is the undying battleship of the undying demon nation. Someone exclaimed. Many people were shocked. The undying demon nation was another super demon nation that was on par with the eternal demon nation. Two tigers couldn't live on the same mountain. The two super devil nations were naturally hostile to each other and would often have conflicts and wars. The immortal battleships of the immortal demon nation broke the void and came here. A group of people stood on the deck of the warship. The leader was a middle-aged man in a long robe. He had an overbearing aura. If you're not dead, what are you doing here? The ancient emperor looked at the burly man and said coldly. Many people were shocked. In the Immortal Demon Nation, there was only one person who dared to use this title, and that was the ruler of the Immortal Demon Nation, the Immortal Emperor. Just like the ancient emperor, every king of the Undying Demon Nation used the title of Undying Emperor. Ancient One, it wasn't easy for you to overcome your tribulation. Naturally, I'm here to congratulate you. But am I not welcome here? The Undying Emperor laughed. You're a guest, come down and sit. The ancient emperor said before ordering his men to prepare a seat. Let's go down. The Undying Emperor said. Many people followed him and jumped off the warship. There were experts from both the older and younger generations following him. Undying Emperor looked around, especially at the young Heaven's favorites. At this moment, the top 30 Heaven's favorites were still standing in the fighting ring. The top 3 would be able to make a request to the ancient emperor. The top 10 would be handsomely rewarded, and the top 30 would be handsomely rewarded as well. That was why they had been waiting there. The Eternal Devil Nation is indeed full of geniuses. The geniuses are as common as the clouds. Even the good-for-nothing brats of my Immortal Devil Nation are tempted by this. They'd like to have a spar with the geniuses of the Eternal Devil Nation. What do you think, Ancient One? The Undying Emperor laughed. It's here. Many people were moved. The people of the Immortal Demon Nation didn't come with good intentions. They didn't come just to congratulate the Ancient Emperor. Alright, I have the same idea. I'll be good for them if the two geniuses spar. The Ancient Emperor said. He couldn't reject them. Otherwise, if word got out, everyone would think that the Eternal Demon Nation was afraid of the Immortal Demon Nation. Good, huh? The Undying Emperor laughed and looked at the young men behind him. Have some fun with the geniuses of the Eternal Devil Nation. Remember, don't embarrass your emperor. Yes, great emperor. Those Heaven's favorites cupped their fists. I'll go first. Following that, a young man from the Undying Demon Kingdom leaped onto the battle stage. With a cold and arrogant look on his face, he scanned the geniuses from the Eternal Demon Kingdom and said, My name is Yuan Tu'a, and one have a king physique. I have just broken through to the perfection of the Absolute Saint Realm. Who wants to fight me? The geniuses of the Eternal Devil Nation fell silent. Many of them looked around, but no one dared to step forward. The Undying Demon Nation obviously didn't come with good intentions. The Heaven's Pride experts they sent out wouldn't be weak. They didn't know the other party's strength and didn't dare to make a move rashly. If they were no match, it would be a huge loss of face. They both wanted someone else to make the first move and test each other's strength. Chapter 2043 Immortal Demon Nation's Pride. Chapter 2043 Immortal Demon Nation's Pride. What's wrong? Don't you dare to make a move? Yuanto sneered. I'll fight you. A delicate voice rang out, and a person stepped out. It was Luo Xian. What a beautiful girl. Don't worry. I'm the most tender and protective person. 111 show mercy later. Yuanto laughed. What big words? Luo Xian shouted coldly. He didn't like the other party at all. The two of them stood facing each other, their auras spreading out. The paragons on the fighting ring flew down and stood outside the fighting ring. Beauty, I'm ranked 25th in the Immortal Demon Nation. May I know what's your ranking in the Eternal Demon Nation? Yuanto said with a smile. 22. Luo Xian replied coldly. 22nd place. Just in time to defeat you. Yuan Tu'a laughed, and the aura on his body became stronger as he suddenly rushed toward Luo Xian. Judge, 111 fight you, Luo Xian said softly. He used the law of judgment to fight with his opponent. Boom. With a loud boom, the two of them were forced back. They were evenly matched. Yuan Tua's expression turned grave as he charged at Luo Xian, who retaliated. The two of them began to fight intensely. It had to be said that Yuan Tua was very powerful. He also had a king body, not any weaker than Luo Xian's. The two of them exchanged dozens of moves, but neither of them had a clear winner. However, many of the people from the ancient Devil Nation had ugly expressions on their faces. The other party had said that he was only ranked 25th in the Immortal Demon Nation, while Luo Xian was ranked 22nd. The two of them were equally matched. Didn't this mean that the Eternal Demon Nation was weaker? Boom, boom. In the fighting ring, the two of them exchanged dozens of moves in a row, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. At this moment, Yuanchuo's eyes turned cold. He was the first to fight, and a draw was not the result he wanted. Buzz! Buzz! Yuanchuo's moves suddenly changed. His claws were like lightning as they aimed at Luo Xian's chest and other private parts. Luo Xian's expression turned unsightly, and he fell into a disadvantageous position. Despicable! You actually used such a despicable method. Someone from the ancient devil nation shouted. What a joke! In a life-and-death battle, any means can be used. If you don't even understand this, why are you still cultivating? Someone from the Immortal Demon Nation sneered in response, causing the faces of those from the Eternal Demon Nation to turn ugly. Bang! Luo Xian was at a disadvantage, and he was finally no match for his opponent. After being struck by his opponent's attack, his figure was sent flying back, and blood seeped out of his mouth. Buzz! Yuan Tuo continued to attack, and Luo Xian was injured, so he was at a complete disadvantage. Jade-like beauty! Let me try the touch of a beauty! Yuan Tuo sneered as he approached Luo Xian and secretly transmitted his voice to Luo Xian. Luo Ho gritted his teeth in anger, but he was indeed no match for his opponent. After a few moves, he was sent flying again. Luo Xian gritted his teeth and rushed down the fighting ring. She understood that she had already lost this battle. If she continued to fight, she would only be humiliated by the other party. Where are you going? Yuan Tuo's figure was extremely fast. He approached Luo Xian at an extreme speed and threw a palm at Luo Xian. Luo Xian was unable to dodge this palm strike. From his seat, Lu Ming had been paying attention to the situation in the fighting ring. At that moment, his eyes turned cold and he rushed up. From a distance, he struck out with his palm. A palm print was formed and blasted toward Yuan Tuo. It was not easy for those above the rank of a martial supreme to fight, but he, who was from the younger generation, could. Yuan Tuo's expression changed and he struck with all his might, clashing with Lu Ming's palm print. Then, his body trembled and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. Buzz! Lu Ming rushed forward and wrapped his arms around Luo Xian's slender waist, returning to the fighting ring. Brat, you're interfering in our battle. Are you trying to break the rules? Yuanto said with a gloomy face. Luo Xian's body has already flown out of the fighting ring, which is equivalent to him admitting defeat. You're the one who broke the rules first, aren't you? Lu Ming said indifferently. Luo Xian's body had indeed rushed out of the fighting ring. Once he rushed out of the fighting ring, it would be equivalent to admitting defeat. Since the other party was still attacking, Lu Ming could naturally help. Brat, you want to be the hero saving the beauty? I'd like to see what you can do. A murderous intent flashed in Yuanchuo's eyes. His powerful aura locked onto Lu Ming. Lu Ming let go of Luo Xian and was about to take action. But at this moment, a voice was heard. Lu Ming, what are you doing? What business do you have here? Get down. Gang Yan landed on the fighting ring and glared at Lu Ming coldly. You're not even qualified to participate in the competition. When did you get the chance to interfere? The competition with the Immortal Demon Nation's Heaven's Pride is naturally on us. Get down. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He sneered and said, Oh, 111 leave it to you then. Luo Xian, let's go down. Lu Ming and Luo Xian returned to their seats. Do you want to continue the battle? Gang Yan looked at Yuan Tuo. What's your ranking in the Eternal Devil Nation? Asked Yuanto. Third. Gang Yan replied coldly and arrogantly, a faint smug look on his face. The third ranked of the Eternal Demon Nation wants to fight against me, the 25th ranked of the Immortal Demon Nation? Yuanto said with a sneer. If you want to fight, I'll naturally send someone else to fight you. Gang Yan said. He used the word sect as if everyone had to listen to his orders. I won one battle, so I want fight for now. Yuan Tuo smiled and left the fighting ring. Then, another young man from the Immortal Demon Nation appeared. 1am Ao Xian, ranked 15th in the Immortal Demon Nation. Who wants to fight me? Ao Xian's voice echoed. "I'll fight you." A young man from the Eternal Devil Nation stepped onto the battle platform. He was also ranked 15th in the Eternal Devil Nation. A huge battle had erupted. However, the result left the Eternal Devil Nation's people with ugly expressions. In just a few dozen moves, the genius from the Eternal Devil Nation was defeated. Both of them were ranked 15th, but the geniuses of the Eternal Devil Nation were no match for them. Didn't this mean that the Eternal Devil Nation wasn't as good as the other party? Who else wants to fight? After Ao Xian won, he didn't retreat. He wanted to continue fighting. Following that, the genius ranked 13th from the Eternal Devil Nation stepped forward to fight against Ao Xian. The two of them exchanged a few hundred moves, but the result was still Ao Xian's victory. The sparring continued, but the geniuses from the Eternal Devil Nation were at a complete disadvantage. The two nations had the same ranking. Even the top two of the Eternal Demon Nation's rankings weren't a match for the Undying Demon Nation's Heavens Chosen. Only those who were ranked 3 or 4 places higher could fight or even defeat the other. A day later, the 6th-ranked opponent had defeated the 4th-ranked opponent of the Eternal Devil Nation. Buzz. Next, another young man from the Immortal Demon Nation went up. He was the 4th-ranked expert of the Immortal Demon Nation. I've heard that the top 3 of the Eternal Devil Nation are all exceptional geniuses. Who's in 3rd place? Come out and fight. The person spoke. Gang Yen stepped forward with an ugly expression. Boom. The two of them immediately started fighting, and an intense battle broke out. Without a doubt, the Heaven's Pride experts of the Immortal Demon Nation had also cultivated the light of law, which made them extremely powerful. As soon as they attacked, terrifying roars sounded as if the demon gods had awakened. Chapter 2044, Chapter 2044, Philosopher's Battle. Chapter 2044, Chapter 2044 Philosopher's Battle, that's the universal magic law. Someone cried out in surprise, recognizing this law. The law of 10,000 demons was also a king path law. It was extremely terrifying and most suitable for people who cultivated demons. Once he used the law of 10,000 demons, he seemed to be able to summon the will of an ancient demon. Using the will of an ancient demon to attack his enemies was extremely terrifying. Although their cultivation levels were similar, Tsang Yen was at a disadvantage. He roared and tried his best to fight with his opponent. However, after exchanging dozens of moves, he was still no match for his opponent. He was sent flying off the fighting ring and spat out a large mouthful of blood. He was defeated in just a few dozen moves, and his opponent was only ranked 4th in the Immortal Demon Nation. Didn't that mean that there were 3 more Heaven's favorites above him? Could it be that the other party had 3 sons of God? Impossible. I've always heard that the Immortal Demon Nation only has 2 sons of God. How is that possible? This person cultivates the law of myriad devils and the light of the law. His combat strength is astonishing. Other than the Son of Heaven, who else is stronger than him? The crowd was in a heated discussion. The experts from the ancient devil nation had ugly expressions on their faces. The ancient emperor's face was dark as well. Today was the day of celebration for him surviving the Great Tribulation, but the Immortal Demon Nation had come and provoked him with the name of their younger generation. This was equivalent to slapping his face. And yet, the Eternal Demon Nation was still at a disadvantage. Buzz. At this moment, another figure rushed up the fighting ring. The Son of the Void. The hearts of many were moved. This was the 2nd-ranked child of the Void from the Eternal Devil Nation. The child of the Void strode towards the expert from the Immortal Demon Kingdom. His powerful aura made the other party's face extremely solemn. Your opponent is me. At this moment, a young man from the Immortal Demon Kingdom also rushed up the fighting ring, and his aura rushed towards the child of the Void. Boom. The Son of the Void's figure was blocked. Void no law again. Lu Ming's gaze suddenly froze. The genius from the Immortal Demon Nation had also grasped the law of the Void, just like the child of Void from the Eternal Demon Nation. 2 sons of the Void. In the land of myriad devils, there are 2 children of the Void and 2 super devil nations, each with 1. These 2 are fated opponents. When they first rose to power, they often fought. Almost every year, they would fight, and until now, it has been difficult to determine the winner. Luo Xian's voice rang in Lu Ming's ears as he explained. Lu Ming nodded. A different person grasping the same ultimate law. This was indeed a fated opponent. Everyone wanted to be the strongest, and only by stepping on their opponents could they truly climb to the top. This was more meaningful than defeating the other children of God. Therefore, once two identical sons of God met, a great battle would definitely break out. Unless the difference in cultivation between the two sides was too great, there would be no point in fighting. Boom. The two fated opponents knew each other too well. They didn't say anything else and just started fighting. The fearsome laws of the void collided continuously, as if everything was about to be reduced to nothingness. At the same time, the number one expert from the eternal demon nation, the son of death, was walking in the air. The law of death revolved around him as he looked at a heaven's favorite from the immortal demon nation. Buzz. That elite also soared into the sky and stood opposite the child of death. A terrifying aura exploded from his body, and a mysterious law burst out at the same time. It's the primordial chaos laws. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He finally saw a new law of the top 10. The primordial chaos laws were the most similar to the chaos laws among the 10 ultimate laws. He still had 3 wisps of nebulous primordial chaos in his hands. The two sons of God stood opposite each other, their auras clashing and creating terrifying waves. It's not the first time we fought. It's hard to determine the winner. The son of primordial chaos spoke. As the top geniuses of the land of infinite demons, they naturally knew each other and had fought more than once. If you don't have the confidence to defeat me, then there's no point in coming here today. The child of death said coldly. Although the other Heaven's Pride experts of the immortal demon nation had the upper hand earlier, the other party couldn't defeat the children of heaven. Even if they had the upper hand earlier, it was meaningless. We are not the ones fighting you today. At that moment, the son of primordial chaos spoke. What did that mean? Many people were shocked. If they weren't the ones fighting the child of death, who else could it be? Could it be that there were other sons of God in the immortal demon nation? I can tell you that in the past, I was ranked first in the immortal demon nation. But now, I'm ranked second. The son of primordial chaos continued. The people from the ancient devil nation were shocked. The son of primordial chaos could only be ranked second? Could it be that he had already been defeated by the child of the void from the immortal demon kingdom? However, the cultivation base of the son of void from the immortal demon kingdom had yet to reach the limit of an absolute saint in the Great Circle. Moreover, even if he had reached the limit of an absolute saint in the Great Circle, he might not be able to defeat the son of primordial chaos. At most, they would be on par. Other than the son of void, there was actually someone stronger than the son of primordial chaos in the immortal demon nation? The crowd found it hard to calm down. Bang, bang. At this moment, on the side of the immortal demon nation, a young man stepped out. Every step he took caused the void to rumble. It was an ordinary-looking young man, wearing a black short-sleeved shirt with his arms exposed. His arms were pitch black, like demonic iron, and seemed to be filled with explosive power. His eyes were dark, but they shone with ambition. Everyone from the eternal devil nation turned to look at this man. Could this man be the number one genius of the immortal demon nation? Stronger than the child of primordial chaos? Impossible. This person's cultivation looks like he's only in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. They're both in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. How can he be stronger than the son of Hongmeng? That's right. It's said that the son of primordial chaos cultivation has already reached the limit of the perfected absolute saint realm. He's just a step away from becoming an emperor-to-be, which is equivalent to the son of death. Many people in the ancient devil nation were discussing this matter, but they couldn't understand why. Even the ancient emperor and the other powerful beings were looking at this young man curiously. Lu Ming was also sizing up the young man. He could vaguely feel that the young man gave him a strong pressure, as if there was a terrifying power in this person's body. He had never felt such pressure, not even when he was facing the stellar river or the sun of primordial chaos. "My name is Ancient Devil," the young man said indifferently, his voice reverberating throughout the entire area. After he finished speaking, he looked at the child of death and said, "Today, your opponent is me." Boom. At this moment, the two sons of the void exchanged a blow and retreated. The child of the void from the Ancient Devil Nation glared coldly at Ancient Devil. "You want to fight us? Let's see what you're capable of." The child of the void from the Ancient Devil Nation was incomparably overbearing. With a wave of his hand, a beam of void light shot out towards Ancient Devil. This kind of void light was extremely terrifying. As long as it swept past, everything would be reduced to nothing. Boom. The Elder Devil made his move. His attack was very simple. It was just a simple punch. Chapter 2045. Ancient Cultivation System. Chapter 2045. Ancient Cultivation System Die. Ancient Devil threw a punch. His fist was covered in a layer of black light. Boom. As this punch passed by, it seemed as if it was going to tear the space apart and collide with the void. Shockingly, when this punch landed on the void law, it shook violently, as if it was about to be torn apart by Ancient Devil's fist. What a terrifying attack. But why don't I feel any fluctuations of laws from him? I didn't feel it either. What's going on? Some people were discussing in shock. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He was very surprised. He didn't feel the power of any laws from the Ancient Devil. He only felt the explosive power of the Ancient Devil, which seemed to be able to tear apart all laws. Could it be, some of the older generations seemed to have noticed something, and their faces were filled with shock and horror. "Kill!" The child of the void from the Ancient Devil Nation let out a long howl as a beam of void light shot out and enveloped his entire body. He erupted with his full strength as his void law and saint energy combined to form demonic blades. Blade of nothingness, turn into nothingness. The son of the void's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He waved his arms and void blades shot toward Ancient Devil. As long as one was struck by this blade of nothingness, everything would be reduced to nothingness. Not even the most basic particles would be left behind. This was the terrifying power of the void. However, the Elder Devil was not afraid at all. He was covered in a layer of black demonic light as he continued to punch. Thump. Boom. His fists kept clashing with the void blades, and deafening rumbles sounded in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than a dozen moves. Bang, bang. After a dozen or so moves, the void blade was actually shattered by the Ancient Devil and exploded. The Ancient Devil stepped into the air and was shrouded in demonic light. It was overbearing and unparalleled, as if a true ancient demonic god had awakened. Boom. Ancient Devil launched a storm of attacks, forcing the son of void to retreat. At the scene, regardless of whether it was the Emperor-level experts or the younger generation of the Eternal Devil Nation, everyone was shocked beyond words. The son of the void was actually being suppressed in just a dozen moves. Even the child of death, who was ranked first, couldn't do this. Furthermore, they did not sense any nomological fluctuations from the Ancient Devil. How can he be so terrifying? I can clearly sense that his cultivation is also in the perfected absolute saint realm. Why is his combat strength so terrifying? He's even suppressing the Son of Heaven. What laws does he control? I can't sense the power of laws. The voices were filled with disbelief. Could it be an ancient devil cultivator? It must be. It must be a primordial demonic cultivator. Otherwise, it wouldn't have such terrifying power. I didn't expect that a primordial demonic cultivator would appear in the primordial realm. At this moment, a few white-haired old men spoke. Their voices were filled with shock and solemnness. An immemorial devil cultivator? Many people were dumbfounded. This was the first time they had heard of this term. The Heaven Realm's cultivation history is far above that of the primordial realm. According to legend, the Heaven Realm's primordial era's cultivation system was completely different from today's cultivation system. The path of cultivation back then did not cultivate the power of laws. Instead, it focused more on one's own body. Those who succeeded in cultivating it would have extremely terrifying offensive power. There was a saying that one's power could break all laws. The ancient cultivation system is divided into many types. The ancient demonic Tao at that time was the true demonic cultivation. The origin demonic power was shocking and unparalleled in attack. An old man muttered a bunch of things. Everyone was shocked. The ancient cultivation system? Could it be that the ancient devil cultivated the ancient cultivation system? Ancient devil should be cultivating the primordial diabolism. However, the primordial cultivation system is extremely difficult to cultivate. It's even more difficult to succeed. Later, when the nomological system rose, the primordial cultivation system slowly disappeared. Even in the heaven realm, it's rare. I didn't expect the primordial cultivation system to appear in the primordial realm. Next to Lu Ming and the rest, the master of the Luo family sighed. He had also seen some rumors. There were also some elders who sighed. In fact, the devil cultivators now could no longer be considered true devil cultivators. Luo Xian, Wuxia, and the others were shocked when they heard this. Ancient devil had gained the upper hand. The son of void kept retreating until his fist broke through the void's law. The void law was said to be able to turn everything into nothingness, but it couldn't break the layer of demonic light on the ancient devil's body. Instead, the demonic light pierced through the void law. At the same time, the demonic light whistled and almost tore apart the law light of the son of the void. His figure retreated frantically, and a stream of blood spilled from his mouth. "You've lost," the elder devil said coolly. He looked ordinary, but he had the belief that he was invincible. The son of the void's face turned pale. He had only exchanged a few moves, and he was already defeated. His opponent's cultivation base was not higher than his. They were on the same level. This was a huge blow to him. Every child of God had the belief that they were invincible. They believed that they could defeat all their enemies and reach the peak. The reason he had lost to the child of death before was that the child of death had broken through to the perfection of the saint realm longer than he had, and his nomological laws were stronger than his. When he caught up in this aspect, he would not lose. But now, he had been defeated by the ancient devil. The son of the void's expression changed. In the end, he shook his head and sighed. He landed on a seat and began to heal his injuries. At this moment, ancient devil's eyes turned to the child of death. "Do you still want to continue?" Ancient devil asked. The son of death of the ancient devil nation, Long, had a grim expression on his face. Ancient devil's meaning was very clear. Long was only slightly stronger than the son of the void, but ancient devil could crush the son of the void. It was obvious who was stronger and who was weaker. Was there still a need to fight? Fight! Long was very direct. He stepped forward, and the light of death surrounded his body. "Let's decide the winner in one move. If one can't defeat you in one move, it's my loss." Long stared at ancient devil. "As you wish." The elder devil spoke with confidence. The hearts of countless people from the eternal demon nation were on tenterhooks. Long was their last hope. If even Long was defeated, then the eternal demon empire would be completely wiped out. The ancient emperor's face turned dark. He knew that undying emperor was here to slap his face. Just when he had overcome the tribulation of heaven and earth and the whole country was celebrating, he had come to slap his face. On the fighting ring, Long and ancient devil faced each other. Their auras grew stronger and stronger. When they reached their peak, Long made his move. Death's abyss. Long moved his hands. As his hands moved, a huge abyss appeared out of nowhere. This abyss was huge and pitch black. It was filled with the aura of death, as if it wanted to bury everything under the abyss. Although Long and the Blade of Death both controlled the death law, the way they used it was very different. In fact, even if one controlled the same nomological law, different people would naturally have different ways of using it. Chapter 2046. Lu Ming smiled. Chapter 2046. Lu Ming smiled. The abyss of death was as black as ink and unfathomable. As soon as it appeared, It suppressed ancient devil. I've succeeded. Some of the ancient devil nation's people were delighted. Previously, Ji Long had used this move to defeat the Son of the Void. Even the Void's law could not break the abyss of death. All living beings who fall into the abyss of death will die. Let's go, Ji Long said. He exploded crazily, and the death chi in the abyss of death was extremely dense. But the next moment, Ji Long's expression suddenly changed. Thump. A deafening explosion came from the abyss of death. Thump, thump. Then, the rumbling in the abyss of death became more and more intense. In the end, the entire abyss of death started to shake violently. After more than a dozen explosions, the abyss of death suddenly exploded. A figure covered in demonic light appeared in the sky like an unparalleled demonic god. As for Ji Long, the moment the abyss of death was broken, his body retreated madly, and a stream of blood flowed out of his mouth. He was defeated. The son of death, Ji Long, was also defeated. At this moment, the faces of many from the ancient devil nation turned pale. Even the strongest person from the eternal devil nation had been defeated. This time around, the eternal demon nation had suffered a crushing defeat. Just the elder devil alone was enough to defeat all of them. How could the Son of God be defeated? Especially the young people, they were in disbelief. The Son of Heaven was the synonym of undefeated in a battle of the same level. But now, the Son of Heaven had been defeated. Many young men felt their faith crumbling. Ancient One, the geniuses of your eternal devil nation aren't all that great after all. Is there anyone else who wants to come out and give it a try? The Undying Emperor laughed. The Undying Demon Nation and the Eternal Demon Nation were the two super demon nations in the land of 10,000 demons. They had been competing with each other for countless years. The Undying Emperor was naturally happy to be able to slap the face of the Eternal Emperor. The other members of the ancient devil nation had ugly expressions on their faces as well. Slapping the face of the ancient emperor was the same as humiliating them. I didn't expect that there would be someone from the immortal demon nation who has cultivated the immemorial demon Tao to such a level. It's really rare. The ancient emperor spoke. This man is a legendary genius of our immortal demon nation. He couldn't awaken his bloodline since he was young, let alone comprehend intent realm and control the law. But this young man has his own luck. He accidentally obtained the cultivation method of the ancient demonic path. I didn't expect that he was a peerless genius. After cultivating the ancient demonic path, he advanced by leaps and bounds. His attacks are unparalleled, and even the strongest law can't stop him. Undying Emperor was extremely proud of himself as he gave a simple introduction of Ancient Devil. Many people were surprised that the Ancient Devil couldn't cultivate the current martial arts and comprehend intent. However, it was extremely suitable for the ancient diabolism and was a peerless genius. The ancient cultivation system was extremely difficult to cultivate. It was many times more difficult than the current cultivation system. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gradually disappeared. Moreover, it did not mean that one would be able to crush the current cultivation system and even defeat the Son of Heaven just by cultivating the primordial demonic path. Only the most talented of them could reach the level of Ancient Devil. The immemorial cultivation system, the immemorial demonic Tao. Lu Ming muttered, his eyes filled with a strong fighting spirit. This was the first time Lu Ming had encountered and heard of the primordial cultivation system. The Heaven Realm's immemorial era was an era that was even earlier than the ancient era. At that time, the evil god race had not even started their attack. That was an extremely long time ago. Lu Ming was really excited. He wondered if he should fight the ancient demon. Kid, you come up. Just as Lu Ming was deep in thought, a voice was heard. A young man from the immortal demon nation stepped onto the fighting ring and looked at Lu Ming. Yes, he was looking at Lu Ming. This young man was the one who had defeated Luo Xian before Lu Ming saved Luo Xian and forced him to retreat with a single palm. His name was Yuanto. Previously, he had been careless and was forced to retreat by Lu Ming's palm. He felt that he had lost face and had been feeling unhappy. He had been thinking about torturing Lu Ming once to regain his face. Now that the competition was over, he finally found an opportunity to step onto the fighting ring. Aren't you very strong? Didn't you want to be the hero that saves the beauty? Come up and fight me now. Let me see what you're capable of. Yuan Tuo stared at Lu Ming and shouted again. Lu Ming smiled. He was really smiling. He had been looking for an opportunity to show off and attract the attention of the ancient emperor. He also wanted to fight ancient devil. Therefore, Lu Ming stepped into the fighting ring without any hesitation. On the side of the eternal demon nation, some of them looked at Lu Ming curiously. This was because Luo Xian had previously said that Lu Ming had defeated Gang Yen, but no one knew if it was true or not. Make your move, he'll give you the chance to make your move. With one hand behind his back, Lu Ming spoke indifferently, his face contemptuous. Of course, he did this on purpose. As expected, Yuan Tuo was furious. You're looking for death. Yuan Tuo shouted. He channeled all his strength and rushed toward Lu Ming with a whoosh, throwing a punch. This punch was like a demonic bull galloping. It was like a sharp horn as it stabbed at Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming's attack was very simple. He threw a punch. However, he didn't use any array Dao laws in this punch. Instead, he used the prison suppressing heaven technique. The power of the prison suppressing heaven art was completely contained in his fist as it collided with Yuan Tuo's fist. Thump. The sky buzzed like a drum. Then, a figure flew back and fell heavily hundreds of meters away. This figure was naturally Yuan Tuo. Originally, many of the people from the eternal devil nation had been dispirited after the defeat of the two sons of God. However, their eyes lit up at this moment. To be able to defeat Yuan Tuo in one move, this level of combat strength was not weak. Could it really be, as Luo Xian had said, that Lu Ming had defeated Song Yan? Yuan Tuo struggled to get up, his face flushed red. He had challenged Lu Ming to defeat him and save his face. He did not expect that he would be defeated by Lu Ming in one move and sent flying hundreds of meters away. He was completely crushed. He did not regain his face, but instead, it was even more embarrassing. He was filled with regret and was so angry that he almost vomited blood. What's your ranking in the Eternal Devil Nation? Yuan Tuo asked, gritting his teeth. If Lu Ming's ranking in the Eternal Devil Nation was high, it would not be that embarrassing even if he lost. Nameless, Lu Ming said calmly. He didn't participate in the Eternal Devil Kingdom's competition earlier, so he was indeed nameless. However, when his words fell into the ears of the Immortal Demon Nation's paragons, they felt that Lu Ming was deliberately humiliating them. A nameless person could defeat Yuan Tuo? You're trying to humiliate us in this way, right? Let me test you. A young man from the Undying Demon Kingdom shouted coldly. He took a step forward and appeared on the fighting ring, standing opposite Lu Ming. Many people recognized him. He was ranked 15th in the Immortal Demon Nation and had defeated a genius ranked 13th in the Eternal Demon Nation. Chapter 2047. He is the son of chaos. Chapter 2047. He is the son of chaos. Make your move. Lu Ming continued to speak calmly. This person moved and slashed out a vast demonic blade. The power was indeed stronger than that of Yuan Tuo. However, Lu Ming threw a punch and directly destroyed the saber light, sending the other party flying. One move, another move. His opponent had a king body in the perfected absolute saint realm. His combat strength was definitely powerful. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the absolute saint realm, but he could defeat his opponent in one move. This shocked many people. What powerful combat power. One punch and he's done it like a piece of rotten wood. His fighting style is a bit like an ancient devil's. There are no nomological law fluctuations either. Someone was puzzled. I heard before that he defeated Song Yan. One was suspicious before, but now it seems that it might be true. Another person recalled Luo Xian's words. Song Yan's expression was extremely ugly. Initially, some people might not have taken Luo Xian's words seriously. However, Lu Ming had truly displayed his strength and confirmed Luo Xian's words. He had once been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming, get off the fighting stage. You're just a nobody. How are you qualified to fight in the ring? Song Yan shouted, wanting Lu Ming to step down. Lu Ming's cold gaze swept over Tsang Yen as he berated, "This is between me and the heaven's favorite of the immortal demon nation." "Shut up, you piece of trash." "What did you just say?" Being called trash by Lu Ming in public, Tsang Yen was furious and glared at Lu Ming. "My defeated general, who was defeated by the immortal demon nation, still has the face to talk big here. If he's not trash, then what is he? If I were you, I'd just destroy my own cultivation and stop cultivating martial arts." Lu Ming berated loudly. "You," Tsang Yan's body trembled, his face turning red from anger. "How dare you? You're so vicious at such a young age. You want to destroy my state of mind. You deserve to be killed." The Ashen Demon King bellowed, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. His powerful aura enveloped Lu Ming. "Sangmo, you shouldn't interfere in the matters of the younger generation." At this moment, the ancient emperor spoke up. With a slight wave of his hand, the aura of the Azure Demon King disappeared without a trace. Previously, he had given the authority to the Azure Demon King during the contest in the Eternal Demon Nation. Since the other party did not allow Lu Ming to participate, he could not be bothered. But now, the Eternal Demon Nation had lost all their face. Lu Ming had just defeated 2 of his men and managed to save some face. Naturally, he wouldn't allow the Ashen Demon King to act rashly. The Azure Demon King's expression changed when he heard the ancient emperor's words. He hurriedly bowed and sat down, but his cold eyes would still sweep over Lu Ming from time to time. Buzz. Buzz. At this moment, more and more geniuses of the Immortal Demon Nation arrived on the fighting ring, wanting to challenge Lu Ming. "You guys are not my match." Lu Ming shook his head and did not look at them again. Instead, he stepped into the air and walked toward the ancient devil. What was he doing? Many people were dumbfounded. Lu Ming was actually walking toward the ancient demon? Even the few sons of God at the scene revealed surprised expressions. Lu Ming came to the front of the ancient devil, his eyes filled with a strong desire to fight. "This is the first time I've encountered an ancient devil Dao. Battle me," Lu Ming said. His voice was clear and calm, but it was like a gust of wind that swept in all directions. Everyone was stunned. Lu Ming wanted to challenge the ancient devil? Did one hear him right? He wants to challenge the ancient devil? It's true. One heard it too. He wants to challenge the ancient devil. Crazy. He's crazy. Many people shouted. To them, this was truly inconceivable. Lu Ming actually wanted to challenge the ancient devil. Just now, ancient devil had displayed his terrifying strength and defeated 2 sons of God in a row. His combat strength was so strong that it shocked everyone. However, Lu Ming was challenging the ancient devil? Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the absolute saint realm. Although he had displayed great combat strength and easily defeated Yuan Tuo and the others, there were rumors that he had defeated Tsang Yen. But so what? They were on completely different levels. A figure like Tsang Yen would probably be crushed in a single move by the ancient devil. Many people felt that Lu Ming had gone crazy. Luo Xian, Wuxia, the Luo family's head, and the others were also dumbfounded and in disbelief. Although Lu Ming was powerful, he could not be compared to the ancient demon, who was a rare genius. You overestimate yourself. You think you have some strength and you're arrogant. Yu Ning sneered coldly. Playing to the gallery, it's just playing to the gallery. Tsang Yen sneered loudly, thinking that Lu Ming was just trying to please the crowd. The ancient emperor, undying emperor, and the other top experts were all curious. He knew ancient devil's power, but he still dared to challenge him in public. Was he really trying to attract attention? Just as the crowd was thinking about this or discussing animatedly, Lu Ming's aura suddenly exploded. Boom! In Lu Ming's body, the holy power surged like a mighty river, turning into a pillar of holy power that soared into the sky. What a strong and condensed saint energy! Such saint energy fluctuations aren't weaker than that of an absolute saint in the perfection or peak. No wonder he's so powerful. Sensing Lu Ming's holy power, some people were discussing in shock. However, the next moment, the entire place fell silent. In the void, a dusky light flashed and intertwined with Lu Ming's saint energy, making Lu Ming's aura even stronger. Laws. The laws of chaos. Everyone could tell at a glance that this was the law of chaos. But this was not the end. The next moment, a halo surrounded Lu Ming, making him look like a god of war. This was the light of chaos. At this moment, many people's expressions were extremely interesting. For example, Yuning, Ji Tian, Song Yen, and the others could open their mouths so wide that they could swallow a dead rat. And their expressions were as if they had really swallowed a dead rat. They were full of shock, disbelief, and disbelief. As for Luo Xian, her mouth was slightly agape, and her face was filled with surprise. Son of Chaos, it's the Son of Chaos. At this moment, someone finally shouted. The scene was in an uproar. The Son of Chaos. It turned out that Lu Ming was the Son of Chaos. No wonder Lu Ming was so powerful and confident. He said that the other geniuses of the Undying Empire were no match for him and challenged the ancient devil directly. The Son of Chaos, who had cultivated the light of law, was indeed qualified to challenge the ancient devil. Those who had previously thought that Lu Ming was trying to please the crowd, that he was overestimating his abilities, and that he was crazy, all shut up. The ancient emperor's eyes shone with joy. Who would have thought that in the eternal devil nation, other than the child of death and the child of void, there would be another child of chaos? Ancient One, how can a genius like this be nameless in the eternal devil nation? Ha! Is this how your eternal devil nation treats a child of the heavens? You've really made me see you in a new light. The Undying Emperor laughed. The ancient emperor's face darkened as well. For a son of chaos to be nameless in the eternal devil nation and not even have the right to participate in the competition, if word got out, he would probably become a laughingstock. Some of the geniuses might even be disheartened. Chapter 2048. Chapter 2047, Great Battle Against Ancient Devil. Chapter 2048. Chapter 2047, Great Battle Against Ancient Devil. Later. This matter has nothing to do with the Great Emperor. It's just that some people think that her's not qualified, so I didn't participate in the competition. That's why I'm unknown. Lu Ming answered. He still needed to borrow the eternal demonic coffin from the ancient emperor. Naturally, he had to speak up for the ancient emperor. Oh, some people really have eyes but can't see. The Undying Emperor laughed. Gang Demon King and Gang Yao's faces were extremely ugly. This Lu Ming, damn it. The two of them roared in their hearts. The Undying Emperor said that they were blind. However, they didn't dare to be hostile to the Undying Emperor. They could only blame everything on Lu Ming. The Elder Devil looked at Lu Ming in surprise and shook his head. You're not my match. His voice was calm, but it was filled with confidence. Even Ji Long, who had reached the limit of absolute saint perfection, was not his match. How could Lu Ming be his match? How would you know if you didn't fight? Lu Ming followed suit, also full of confidence. The ancient devil was surprised. Lu Ming clearly knew his combat strength, but he was still so confident. Could it be that he was really confident? Then let us fight. And NBSB, he'll kill you. Ancient devil spoke, his body exuding a terrifying aura as a pitch-black demonic light enveloped him. Boom. Lu Ming made the first move. He was still using the prison-suppressing heaven technique. However, this time, the prison-suppressing heavenly art had the support of the laws of chaos and the light of chaos. Boom. The sky trembled, and the space rippled like water. A terrifying power rushed toward Ancient Devil. The Ancient Devil's body trembled and demonic light burst forth. He threw a punch that collided with Lu Ming. Thump. A deafening boom was heard, and a terrible force swept out in all directions. Some of the force landed on the fighting ring, causing it to shake violently. Bang, bang, bang. A figure took 3 steps back, causing the air to explode. It was Lu Ming. In this collision, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage and was forced to retreat. The Ancient Devil, on the other hand, did not move. Lu Ming is no match for them. Some people sighed in their hearts. He was at a disadvantage in the first move. Lu Ming was no match for the Ancient Devil. He's overestimating himself. Ancient devil, you'd better kill him and cripple him. Gang Yao laughed in his heart, hoping that the ancient devil would go crazy and cripple Lu Ming. What a terrifying power. At this moment, Lu Ming was also a little shocked. After his clash with the elder devil, he had discovered that not only was the elder devil's body strong, but the power of his demonic light was also shocking. The demonic light was extremely condensed and its offensive power was unparalleled. Even Lu Ming's chaos laws were about to be torn apart. It was the first time that Lu Ming had encountered such a shocking power. Again! Lu Ming let out a long howl and circulated the prison's suppressing heaven technique to its maximum, continuing to blast the ancient fiend. The ancient devil was like a demonic god, charging toward Lu Ming. Thump! Boom! The two of them clashed head-on in the air, causing the sky to shake. However, Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage. Every time they collided, he would be forced to retreat. After exchanging a dozen moves, he had already retreated a few hundred meters. Thump! On the 15th move, Lu Ming retreated 1,000 meters. He felt a sharp pain in his palm and arm. Amazing, amazing, is this Rhe power of the immemorial demonic Tao? Lu Ming was shocked. This was a system that was completely different from the current cultivation system. However, it was even more profound. You're overestimating yourself. You're just asking to be humiliated by challenging the geniuses of the ancient demonic Tao. Gang Yan couldn't help but say sarcastically. However, when he saw the cold glare of the ancient emperor, he shuddered and almost peed his pants. His face turned pale and he didn't dare to make another sound. Buzz! After the ancient devil pushed Lu Ming back with one move, it did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. Chaos Finger! At this moment, Lu Ming did not continue to use the prison-suppressing heavenly art. Instead, he used the Chaos Finger of Calamity. With a point of his finger, a huge chaos ring formed and flew towards Ancient Devil. Boom! Fayan BSP, Ancient Devil's fist struck the chaos ring, causing the Chaos Tribulation Finger to shake and crack. But this time, the Elder Devil's attack was also blocked. His body stopped. At this moment, countless runes appeared in Lu Ming's left hand. With a single palm strike, the countless runes condensed into a 9-dragon that charged at the Ancient Devil. Was this the Array Dao law? He has mastered 2 types of laws. How can this be? A saint can actually control 2 laws. Many people shouted in disbelief, and some even stood up from their seats in excitement. It was unheard of for a saint realm to control 2 laws. This guy. I didn't even use much of my strength in Rhu Luo Devil Kingdom. Luo Xian sighed. He finally understood why Lu Ming had used the demonic lightning law in the beginning. It was an illusion formed by the chaos law. At the side, Yu Ning, Ji Tian, and Ji Peng naturally heard Luo Xian's words. They were all tongue-tied, but in the end, they all sighed. They knew that Lu Ming had not used his true abilities in the Yuluo demonic kingdom. He was just playing with them and probably did not rake them seriously at all. Yu Ning, in particular, had complicated feelings. In the beginning, Lu Ming was her guest elder, but later on, she had personally expelled Lu Ming from the Grand Princess residence. She had actually expelled a son of chaos from the Grand Princess manor. The Undying Emperor said that Gang Demon King and Gang Yen were blind, but she was the same. The 9 dragons roared and pounced at the ancient demon. At the same time, Lu Ming pointed with his right hand and a chaos finger of tribulation was formed, blasting at the ancient demon. The 2 laws attacking at the same time finally made Ancient Devil's eyes turn serious. The demonic light on his body gathered and finally turned into a demonic blade in his hand. Buzz! A blade light slashed at the 9 dragons. The terrifying power instantly tore the bodies of the 9 dragons apart. However, after the 9 dragons were torn apart, they turned into countless runes that flew toward Ancient Devil, trying to seal him. Break! Fayan BSP, break! Ancient Devil roared as demonic light exploded with astonishing power, tearing apart the Array Dao laws. P. He then struck Hour with his blade, clashing with the primal chaos tribulation finger. Fayan BSP, This blade had torn apart the Chaos Tribulation finger, but his own attack had also been rendered somewhat sluggish. Then, Lu Ming used both his hands and activated the Chaos Laws and Array Dao Laws at the same time to fight the ancient demon. The two of them fought intensely. Dozens of moves passed in the blink of an eye, but neither of them had a clear winner. The eyes of many from the ancient devil nation lit up. Lu Ming could really fight the ancient demon. His combat strength was shocking and beyond everyone's expectations. As for RHE people from the Immortal demon nation, their faces also turned unsightly. On the other hand, the four sons of God from the two countries had extremely grave expressions. Lu Ming, the son of chaos, was more powerful than they had imagined. He was only at the peak of the absolute saint realm, and he was already so powerful. He gave them a lot of pressure. Chapter 2049, Lu Ming, First Place. Chapter 2049, Lu Ming, First Place. This ancient demon is even stronger than the one in the Star River of the Lotus World. In the midst of the battle, Lu Ming analyzed the strength of the ancient demon. Back in the Lotus World, Xing Chen's cultivation had already reached the limit of the perfected absolute saint realm. He was only one step away from becoming an emperor to be, similar to Dulong. At that time, Lu Ming had to borrow the vast energy of the third bloodline to be a match for the eternal Star River. However, a long time had passed and Lu Ming was no longer the same as before. At that time, his cultivation had only been in the upper tier of the absolute saint realm. Now, he was already at the peak of the absolute saint realm. He was only one step away from the perfected absolute saint realm. And now, be it the primal chaos tribulation finger or his mastery of the Array Dao laws, he had improved greatly. Furthermore, the chaos laws and Array Dao laws could already be integrated. Lu Ming's combat strength was much stronger than when he fought the eternal Star River in the Lotus Flower World. Now, Lu Ming could suppress the galaxy without using the power of the third bloodline. Of course, that was under the condition that he had not broken through to the galaxy. The battle was still ongoing. However, Lu Ming had the Chaos Laws and the Array Dao Laws. The combination of them was not weaker than his opponent. The Array Dao Law condensed the attack of 9 dragons, which had the power of destruction and seal, especially the seal. Although it was torn apart by the ancient devil's power every time, it would still interfere with him a little. Then he used the Finger of Chaos as his main attack. Although the ancient fiend was strong, it was blocked by Lu Ming. Lu Ming exchanged dozens of moves in a row, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. Destruction. Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly used destruction. Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. Countless runes filled the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger, but they were covered by the light of Primal Chaos. If one didn't pay attention, one wouldn't be able to see them. Ancient Devil thought this was the same as the Chaos Finger, so he gathered Devil Light and slashed at it. However, when he struck the Finger of Tribulation, his expression changed. This was because the power of the Chaos Finger of Tribulation had exceeded his expectations. And in this, he roared, demonic light bursting from his body to block the power of the Chaos Finger of Tribulation. However, he was still a step too late. The terrifying power surged and sent Ancient Devil flying. Ancient Devil retreated a few thousand meters and blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. "I've lost." The Ancient Devil took a closer look at Lu Ming and said. Then he stepped back and flew to the warship in the sky. "I was lucky," Lu Ming muttered in his heart. He had used a trick earlier. The Ancient Devil was injured by him due to its carelessness. If he was on guard, Lu Ming might not be able to defeat the Ancient Demon even if he had the upper hand. He won. Lu Ming had won. The people from the Ancient Devil Nation were ecstatic. It was really a ray of light at the end of the tunnel. Before, they had been completely suppressed by the Undying Demon Nation. Even the two sons of God had been defeated by Ancient Devil, which was a great loss of face. He did not expect Lu Ming to appear at the critical moment and defeat the Ancient Devil in one fell swoop. There was no doubt that the Ancient Devil was the #1 genius of the Immortal Demon Nation. If even the ancient devil was defeated, no one in the immortal demon nation would be a match for Lu Ming. Good. In the eternal devil nation, someone laughed out loud, feeling as though he had finally gotten his revenge. Lu Ming, Luo Xian muttered as his eyes glowed with a strange light. On the other hand, the faces of the people from the undying demon nation were a little gloomy. This time around, they had come prepared. They wanted to use the time when the ancient emperor was celebrating his victory to make use of the younger generation to humiliate the ancient demon nation and make the ancient emperor lose face. Everything had been going according to their plan, and they had successfully defeated the geniuses from the eternal devil nation. However, who would have thought that Lu Ming would suddenly appear and turn the tables? If Lu Ming continued to challenge them, would he not be able to defeat them? The one who regretted it the most was Yuan Tua. He wanted to slap himself. Initially, Lu Ming did not make a move. He was the one who challenged Lu Ming first. He did not expect that he would provoke a fiend. The ancient devil nation is indeed full of talents. It's a pity that someone is blind. How could such a genius be nameless? What a joke! The undying emperor laughed and returned to the battleship. Then, the other members of the immortal demon nation also returned to the battleship. Boom, boom, boom. The battleship started up, broke through the void and disappeared. The people of the immortal demon kingdom had left, but the Azure Demon King and Song Yan's faces were extremely unsightly. Undying Emperor's words were like a slap to their faces. He's finally gone. This time, it's all thanks to Lu Ming. Otherwise, we'd really be humiliated by the immortal demon nation. That's right. The undying demon nation has a heaven's favorite who cultivates the ancient demon path. How amazing! No matter how amazing it is, it was still defeated by Lu Ming. Someone actually said that Lu Ming is not qualified to participate in the competition. What a joke! After the immortal demon nation's people left, the crowd discussed animatedly, and some even sneered at them. A prodigy like Lu Ming was actually stopped and not allowed to participate in the competition. If Lu Ming was not qualified, who was? Damn it! The Ashen Demon King roared in his heart, wishing he could cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. As for Song Yan, his face was so dark that it seemed as if water was about to drip out. The ancient emperor glanced at the Ashen Demon King with dissatisfaction, then turned to Lu Ming with a smile. Lu Ming, one heard that you're from the Yuluo demonic kingdom? Naturally, the eternal demon emperor had heard the discussions of the others. Not bad. Lu Ming said. Well, good. I didn't expect there to be such a heaven's favorite in the Yuluo demonic kingdom. He's at the peak of the ultimate saint realm and defeated the heaven's favorite of the ancient demonic Tao. It's a rare sight. I hereby announce that the ranking of this competition will be rearranged. You will be first, and the others will move back 1 place. The ancient emperor announced. Song Yan's expression changed greatly. Lu Ming won 1st place, and the people behind him fell back 1 place. Originally, Song Yan could have made a request to the great emperor if he had gotten 3rd place, but now that he had become 4th, he had no right to make a request. Song Yan almost vomited blood. He had already thought of what conditions he would ask for, which would be of great use to him, but now, all of that was for nothing. It's all Lu Ming's fault. Song Yan was filled with hatred. In his opinion, why did Lu Ming have to attack and defeat the ancient devil? It was all Lu Ming's fault. As for whether he would be humiliated by the immortal demon nation, what did it have to do with him? How could it compare to the importance of his request to the great emperor? Do you guys have any objections? The ancient emperor's gaze swept across the entire place, stopping on the faces of Song Demon King and Song Yan. They had 100 or 1,000 complaints in their hearts, but they didn't dare to say it out loud. It was obvious that Lu Ming had defeated the ancient devil and restored the reputation of the ancient devil nation. The ancient emperor was very satisfied with Lu Ming. They could only smile against their will and say that they had no objections. Alright, since that's the case, Lu Ming will take 1st place. According to my promise, the top 3 can make a request of me. Lu Ming, whatever request you have, feel free to make it. The ancient emperor said to Lu Ming. Chapter 2050, The Ancient Demonic Coffin Has Been Stolen. Chapter 2050, The Ancient Demonic Coffin Has Been Stolen. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He had challenged the ancient devil because he wanted to spar with it. However, he wanted to take the opportunity to show off his strength and attract the attention of the ancient emperor. This would give him a chance to make a request. Now, Lu Ming had achieved his goal. Your Majesty, Lu Ming would like to borrow the eternal demonic coffin for a month. I hope Your Majesty can grant him his wish. Lu Ming cupped his fists at the ancient emperor and stated his request. As soon as he said that, the entire place fell silent. Many people looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming actually made this request. The ancient demonic coffin was the national treasure of the ancient devil nation, and only the ancient emperor had the right to control it. Lu Ming was really bold to ask to borrow the eternal demonic coffin for a month. Luo Xian's heart could not help but tighten. He was worried for Lu Ming. Impudent. Lu Ming, don't think that you can take advantage of me just because you have some talent and have made some small contributions. The ancient demonic coffin is a precious treasure. It's not something you can use. The Azure Demon King seized the opportunity to step out and berate him. However, Lu Ming did not even spare him a glance. His gaze was fixed on the ancient emperor. The ancient emperor frowned as well. Lu Ming, change your request. As long as it's within my means, I'll definitely help you. Lu Ming's heart sank. Even the ancient emperor did not agree? Your Majesty, I'm borrowing the ancient demonic coffin to save someone. I have a family member whose soul is injured and one need the ancient demonic coffin to heal him. Please grant me my wish. Lu Ming said again. The ancient emperor's brows furrowed even deeper as if he was deep in thought. After a moment, he said, Lu Ming, after the banquet, come and look for me. Yes. Lu Ming was overjoyed. It seemed that there was hope. Then the others made their requests. The requests of the two sons of chaos were naturally related to cultivation. The eternal emperor agreed to them one by one, making everyone else envious. The Battle of the 10 Lands will be held in less than 3 years. At that time, there will be great opportunities. So, during this period of time, you have to cultivate well and improve your cultivation and combat power. In the Battle of the 10 Lands, you can seize the opportunities. The ancient emperor's voice reverberated throughout the entire area. Many young men clenched their fists. They had heard of the Battle of the 10 Lands and were all looking forward to it. That was a gathering of the prodigies of the entire primordial realm. How exciting would that be? The banquet continued until the next day, when everyone left. Princess, I won't be returning to the Luo Devil Kingdom. Lu Ming bade farewell to Luo Xian, the Luo family's master, and the rest. Luo Xian sighed in her heart. Ever since she saw Lu Ming's strength, she knew that he would definitely not stay in the Luo demonic kingdom. The waters of the Luo demonic kingdom were too shallow to keep a true dragon. Take care. If there's a chance, come find me in the Luo demonic kingdom. Luo Xian bared his teeth, revealing a pair of tiger teeth. He was quite cute, of course. With such a beautiful princess, I'll definitely think about you all the time. If there's a chance, 111 definitely go find you. Lu Ming smiled and made a joke. In the end, the people from the Luo Devil Kingdom left. The celebration was over, and they were about to return to the Luo Devil Kingdom. Young Master Lu Ming, please follow me. A burly middle-aged man came to Lu Ming. He was sent by the ancient emperor. Lu Ming nodded and followed the middle-aged man to a side hall. The ancient emperor was seated at the top of the side hall. After arriving here, the middle-aged man retreated. Lu Ming, do you really have to borrow the eternal demonic coffin? The ancient emperor went straight to the point. Yes, great emperor. Without the ancient demonic coffin, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for my family to wake up. Lu Ming said with a determined look. The ancient emperor pondered for a moment before saying, Lu Ming, if one still have the eternal demonic coffin, one can lend it to you for a month. But, the ancient emperor paused. Lu Ming was taken aback. What did the ancient emperor mean by that? Could it be that the ancient demonic coffin was not in the hands of the ancient emperor? To tell you the truth, the ancient demonic coffin was stolen a year ago. The ancient demon emperor paused for a moment before continuing. What? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. The ancient demonic coffin had actually been stolen? How was this possible? Who could steal the ancient demonic coffin from the hands of the ancient emperor? However, he had never thought that the ancient emperor was lying to him. Given the ancient emperor's status, there was no need for him to lie to him. If he did not want to lend it to Lu Ming, there was nothing he could do. One didn't bring the ancient demonic coffin with me. I hid it in a secret place in the palace. A year ago, it was stolen by someone. After that person stole the ancient demonic coffin, he escaped into the demonic sea. At that time, I was preparing to cross the heavenly tribulation, so I didn't chase after him. The ancient emperor said, "It's actually the demonic sea." Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He had stayed in the Yuluo Devil Kingdom for some time and had some understanding of some of the terrifying places in the land of myriad devils. The Devil Sea was known as one of the 3 forbidden areas in the land of 10,000 devils. It was extremely terrifying. Since ancient times, countless people had entered and countless people had died inside. It was said that even great emperors might be in danger if they entered. However, there were also rumors that there were great opportunities in the demonic sea. If one could obtain them, they could make a major breakthrough. Entering the demonic sea was purely based on luck. If they were lucky, they would be fine even if their cultivation was low. However, if one was unlucky, even great emperors would be in danger after entering. There was once a great emperor who entered and came out with serious injuries, shocking the entire land of myriad demons. Someone had stolen the ancient demonic coffin and escaped into the demonic sea. We can't lose the eternal demonic coffin. We must get it back. Now that I've passed the Great Tribulation, I'm going to gather a group of people to enter the demonic sea and get the coffin back. If you want to borrow the coffin, you can go in with me. However, in the demonic sea, the situation is ever-changing. I can't guarantee your safety 100%. The ancient emperor said, "Let's go in." "Emperor, he'll go in with you." Lu Ming did not hesitate and agreed. No matter what, he had to get the ancient demonic coffin and save Qiuyu. No matter how dangerous it was, he had to try. "I didn't expect you to be such a loyal little fellow. All right, you can stay in the palace for now. They'll send someone to call you when the time comes." The ancient emperor said. Then he got someone to arrange a place for Lu Ming to stay. Lu Ming stayed in the palace and waited. Lu Ming did not have to wait too long before the ancient emperor sent someone to find him. He brought Lu Ming to a vast area. Demon King Tsang. There were already many people gathered here. Lu Ming saw the Azure Demon King with a single glance. The Azure Demon King's gaze swept over Lu Ming, a sharp glint flashing in his eyes. Lu Ming discovered that there were hundreds of people gathered here. However, they had one thing in common, and that was that they were all very old. There were martial emperors and emperor-to-be. Lu Ming asked around and found out that these people were going to enter the demonic sea. There were hundreds of emperor-to-be and dozens of martial emperors here. Hundreds of emperors-to-be were at the end of their lifespans. They entered the demonic sea in search of opportunities to break through. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to live for long. Chapter 2051. Chapter 2050, Entering Demonic Sea. Chapter 2051. Chapter 2050, Entering Demonic Sea. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. There were hundreds of emperor-to-be who were at the end of their lifespans. The strength of this super devil nation in the land of myriad devils was absolutely terrifying. However, on second thought, Lu Ming understood. The Sage Realm could live for 100,000 to 200,000 years, but it was too difficult for an emperor-to-be to break through and reach the martial emperor realm. After so many years of accumulation, the number of emperor-to-be was absolutely shocking. It wasn't just the eternal demon nation. It was the same for other powers in other places. These people didn't have long lifespans. If they didn't find an opportunity to break through, they would die of old age sooner or later. As for the martial sovereigns, they were not at the end of their lifespans. Instead, they were about to face the next heavenly tribulation. A martial sovereign's heavenly tribulation was stronger than the previous one. If he could not keep on breaking through, he would die under the heavenly tribulation sooner or later. Since ancient times, countless martial sovereigns had been born. However, only a few of them could truly live on. Most of them had died under the heavenly tribulation. The martial emperor himself could actually sense the probability of him surviving the Great Tribulation. For example, the people in front of him were not confident that they could survive the Great Tribulation. Therefore, they also wanted to enter the demonic sea to try their luck and see if they could make a breakthrough. It was the same for the Azure Demon King. He was still a few thousand years away from his next great calamity. Thousands of years might seem long, but to these ancient martial sovereigns, it was just the blink of an eye. At this moment, the space flickered and the ancient emperor appeared. Everyone bowed to him. This time, the main mission of entering the demonic sea is to take back the eternal demonic coffin. At the same time, I can try my luck, the ancient emperor ordered. With a wave of his hand, a black jade token appeared in the air. Carry these jade tokens with you, and you'll be able to roughly sense each other's location. If we get separated in the demonic sea, we can gather according to the directions shown on them. The ancient emperor introduced them before waving his hand. A jade token flew out to everyone, giving them one each. Lu Ming also received a piece and kept it. Let's go. You guys enter my small world first. I'll take you there, the ancient emperor said. Then he waved his hand and Lu Ming felt a force enveloping him. In the next moment, he appeared in an unfamiliar place. This is the small world of the great emperor? Lu Ming rushed to the sky and looked around, exclaiming. All he saw were vast mountains with no end in sight. There were still living creatures in the mountains, but Lu Ming realized that these creatures were different from those in the outside world. There was a high chance that this was the little world of the ancient emperor, a living being that was born on its own. Great emperors controlled great Daos, but there were only 3,000 great Daos. If they controlled different great Daos, the small world would naturally be different, and the creatures would be different. It was extremely wonderful. Lu Ming looked around curiously. Not far away, the Azure Demon King's eyes would sweep over Lu Ming from time to time, flashing with killing intent. After about half a day, a force acted on their bodies and they left. Lu Ming discovered that they were standing on the peak of a mountain. We are already at the edge of the demonic sea. The voice of the ancient emperor rang out. Lu Ming looked forward. In front of him was a pitch-black cloud, like an ocean of clouds. There was no end in sight. This was the demonic sea. The Devil Sea was not a real ocean, but was called the Sea of Devil Chi. The demonic sea was filled with endless demonic chi. It was vast and boundless, like a vast ocean, so it was called the demonic sea. Once we enter the demonic sea, everything will become unpredictable. You all have to follow me closely, the ancient emperor said as he took the lead and charged towards the demonic sea. The crowd followed closely behind the ancient emperor. Chi. Lu Ming realized that the black mist stuck to his body as soon as they entered the demonic sea. It was highly corrosive. Lu Ming quickly circulated his saint energy to resist. Fortunately, the corrosion wasn't very strong. An emperor-to-be should be able to block it. They flew forward for a while and then flew straight down. The demonic sea's terrain seemed to be very low. They continued to descend, and they had descended tens of thousands of meters. However, the deeper he went, the fainter the demonic chi seemed to be. At the end, he could resist it with just a little saint power. At this moment, they finally saw the ground. It was a vast gray land. The entire land was gray, deathly silent, and devoid of life. After they landed, they were highly focused. This was the demonic sea, one of the 3 most terrifying forbidden areas in the land of 10,000 demons. If one was unlucky, even emperors would be injured if they entered. They naturally didn't dare to be careless and were on full alert. The ancient emperor spread out his consciousness as though he was sensing something. Then he flew into the depths of the demonic sea. The ancient emperor's speed was extremely slow, and everyone was still able to keep up. This region was deathly silent, without any signs of life. They had flown for a full day, and they didn't know how far they had flown, but they hadn't encountered a single living creature or any danger. "Look, an ancient city." At this moment, someone shouted. Everyone looked to the side, and indeed, there was an ancient city in the mountains. However, this was only a ruined city. It had completely collapsed, as if it had fallen from the sky. They went to take a look, but they didn't find anything. Some people once speculated that the demonic sea was an ancient battlefield. However, some people said that the things in the Devil's Sea fell from the sky, which was why the Devil's Sea was formed. From the looks of this ancient city, it really did look like it had fallen from the sky. Suddenly, the ancient emperor turned around and looked behind him. Everyone was shocked and quickly looked behind them, but there was nothing there. Some of them were scared. Was there really something behind them? Otherwise, why would the great emperor be so wary? "Great emperor, what did you find?" someone asked. The ancient emperor frowned and shook his head. "Let's leave this place." After saying that, he flew forward. The crowd followed, but many of them had grave expressions. Even the great emperor seemed to have some apprehensions, which made them feel scared. They couldn't be so unlucky as to encounter something that even great emperors were afraid of, right? If that was the case, the situation would be bad. Very quickly, they had flown a very long distance. Right at this moment, the ancient emperor came to a sudden stop. Looking into the void, he hollered out, "Get out here!" Boom! The ancient emperor then struck out with his palm. The power of a great emperor was earth-shattering and extremely terrifying. With a single palm, the entire void was shattered. Boom! 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 The void exploded. At this moment, everyone saw a figure wrapped in a black robe. No one could see his face clearly. However, this figure's strength was extremely shocking. His body flickered non-stop, and he was so fast that not a single one of the ancient emperor's palm strikes could hit him. A great emperor realm expert. Everyone's expression changed, becoming extremely unsightly. That figure was definitely at the emperor level. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to dodge the palm of the ancient emperor. Chapter 2052. Chapter 2051, Endless Demonic Insects. Chapter 2052. Chapter 2051, Endless Demonic Insects. That figure kept on flashing and was extremely fast. Buzz. All of a sudden, the figure waved his hand and a terrifying demonic light was sent flying towards the ancient emperor. This demonic light was like an unparalleled demonic blade with infinite power, splitting the sky. Boom! The ancient emperor rushed forward and struck out with a palm print. It collided with the demonic light, and the sky rumbled. "So it's you. Hand over the ancient demonic coffin." The ancient emperor hollered as his body flickered and he charged towards his opponent, unleashing a terrifying attack. The other party wasn't afraid at all. His entire body was engulfed in demonic light as he engaged in a battle with the ancient emperor. "Retreat!" someone shouted, and they retreated frantically. That black shadow was definitely a great emperor. The shockwaves from a battle between great emperors were too terrifying. If one was sucked in, death would be the only outcome. In the blink of an eye, they had retreated thousands of miles. Boom! Boom! In that area, there were constant rumbles. The void was completely shattered, showing how intense the battle was. Many people's faces turned pale. They didn't expect to encounter such a terrifying expert the moment they entered. At the same time, they recalled the words of the ancient emperor. Could it be that the ancient demonic coffin had been stolen by this figure? Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. He hoped that the ancient emperor could defeat his opponent and take back the eternal demonic coffin. If even the ancient emperor couldn't take it back, then he would have no hope at all. What's that? Suddenly, someone exclaimed in a trembling voice. He didn't need to shout, everyone saw it. In front of them, a black wind was sweeping toward them. The gale covered a very wide area, as if it was covering the sky and the earth. No, it was not a gale, but a type of insect. A kind of pitch-black insects was endless. They gathered together and flapped their wings, bringing with them endless gales that swept toward Lu Ming and the others. From afar, it looked like a pitch-black gale. These are demonic beetles. My God, Why are there so many of them? An old man whose hair was about to fall out exclaimed. He was an emperor-to-be, but his face was extremely ugly. Demonic beetles were a very terrifying type of demonic insects. They might not be strong individually, but when gathered together, they were terrifying. Moreover, the demonic beetles that appeared here were endless. Those above the martial supreme realm block the demonic beetles. Those below the martial supreme realm run. The voice of the ancient emperor rang out from afar. They didn't dare to disobey the great emperor's orders. All the martial sovereigns, including the Azure Demon King, rushed toward the demonic beetles. Boom, boom. Dozens of martial sovereigns attacked at the same time. There were true sovereigns and void sovereigns, and their power was extremely shocking. Large numbers of demonic beetles were killed and fell to the ground like raindrops. Many of them were turned into ashes by the martial sovereign's terrifying power. However, there were too many demonic beetles. They were a dense mass and seemed endless. It was impossible to kill them all. There were still many that managed to break through the martial supreme's encirclement and charged toward Lu Ming and the rest. Let's go! Someone shouted. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Hundreds of emperors-to-be fled in all directions. Lu Ming also rushed in one direction. Hoo-hoo-hoo, but the wind whistled as the countless demonic beetles formed an arc, trying to surround them. Charge! Lu Ming used all his strength and his speed was faster than many emperors. He rushed toward an opening. There were no demonic beetles there. However, when Lu Ming was about to break out of the demonic beetle's encirclement, his expression changed slightly. The demonic beetles had also appeared in front of them. However, there weren't many of them, and they couldn't be compared to the endless demonic beetles. Charge! Lu Ming gritted his teeth and rushed over. Whoosh! Whoosh! Each demonic beetle was the size of a fist. Their bodies were pitch black as if they were made of black iron. They were like pitch-black cannonballs as they charged at Lu Ming. A combat sword appeared in Lu Ming's hands. This combat sword was a monarch weapon. To deal with these demonic beetles, a combat sword was the best weapon. It was more useful than a spear. Lu Ming swung his combat sword and dozens of demonic beetles were cut in half. However, compared to the densely packed numbers, a few dozen was nothing. There were still many demonic beetles that charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his saint energy and combined it with the law of chaos to form a protective shield around his body. Boom, boom. The demonic beetles crashed into the protective shield, causing it to shake violently. However, it could not break through Lu Ming's defense for the time being. Kill! Lu Ming held the monarch weapon sword and slashed continuously, killing a large number of demonic beetles. In a few breaths, hundreds of demonic beetles fell to the ground. These demonic beetles were not very powerful individually, but there were too many of them. They charged at Lu Ming fearlessly and crashed into his protective shield. If this went on, Lu Ming's holy power would be consumed very quickly. Once his holy power was exhausted, he would be in danger. At this moment, the other emperors-to-be were also attacked by the demonic beetles. They also did their best to charge forward, constantly killing demonic beetles as they charged forward. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming kept swinging his sword. With every swing, a large number of demonic beetles were killed. He charged forward quickly. Wherever he passed, demonic beetles fell like rain. Fortunately, this was not the place where the demonic beetles gathered. It was only the edge, so there were fewer demonic beetles. Not long after, Lu Ming broke through the encirclement and flew forward at top speed. Hoo-hoo! Behind him, the wind howled and countless demonic beetles were chasing after Lu Ming. Lu Ming buried his head and flew madly. He flew for at least a few hours before the demonic beetles behind him disappeared without a trace. However, Lu Ming was also completely separated from the rest. Look at the map. Lu Ming took out the map that the ancient emperor had given him and infused his saint energy into it. The jade card glowed and a picture floated in the air. However, there was nothing unusual on the map except for a bright spot. Lu Ming made a comparison. The position of this light spot was where he was. This light spot was him. It seems that only by activating this jade token will there be light spots floating on it. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Now that everyone was in the middle of a great battle, there were naturally no specks of light floating around. Then, Lu Ming realized that he was lost. He had been flying around randomly and changing his direction constantly. At this moment he had no idea where he was. In the end, Lu Ming randomly chose a direction and flew forward. For the next few days, Lu Ming did not meet a single person or any living creature. It was as if there was only one person left in the entire world. In the past few days, he had already flown who knew how far. Kill, kill, kill. All of a sudden, Lu Ming heard faint shouts coming from the front. Lu Ming was shocked. This was because these battle cries did not come from one or two people, or even dozens of people. It was like the roars of an army of thousands of soldiers. How could there be thousands of soldiers and horses here? Lu Ming revealed a curious look. Then he used the divine breath technique to completely conceal his aura. He stuck close to the ground and rushed toward the source of the sound. Chapter 2053, The Ancient City and the Killing Intent. Chapter 2053, The Ancient City and the Killing Intent. The closer Lu Ming got to the source of the sound, the more intense the battle cries became. Kill, kill, kill. Battle cries shook the heavens and shot straight into the clouds. Lu Ming climbed up a dead-silent mountain peak and stood at the peak. He looked ahead and his pupils suddenly shrank. There was a huge ancient city in front of them. This ancient city was different from the ones they had encountered before. The ancient cities they had encountered before had almost all collapsed, but this one was intact. It was extremely majestic and huge. From a distance, it looked like a prehistoric giant beast lying there. Outside the ancient city, there was a black mass of figures. These figures were wearing iron armors and holding all kinds of combat weapons. These aren't living beings. Lu Ming sized up the figures carefully. They were pitch black and the bodies under the armor seemed to be formed by energy. They were not living creatures. Mo Ling. Lu Ming muttered. This should be a demonic spirit formed from the undying demonic will of a demonic path elite who died in battle. There were at least tens of thousands of demonic spirits. When they gathered together, they would occasionally let out battle cries that shook the heavens and earth. However, Mo Ling had been wandering outside the ancient city. He didn't leave or enter the ancient city. This ancient city is intact. I'm afraid there's an opportunity. Lu Ming pondered, but he did not plan to go in and explore. Not to mention whether there was any danger in the ancient city, just the demon spirits alone were not easy to deal with. After observing for a while, Lu Ming shook his head. He moved and left the place. This time, Lu Ming did not fly far before he saw a few streaks of light. A few elders appeared not far away. These were the quasi-emperors from the eternal devil nation. Clearly, they had been drawn over by the battle cries. Lu Ming. The emperor-to-be also saw Lu Ming. They smiled and flew toward him. Lu Ming, what's in front? Why is there such a fierce battle cry? It's as if there are thousands of soldiers and horses. An old man asked. He had a gentle smile on his face and a kind expression. In ancient city, there are at least tens of thousands of demonic spirits outside the ancient city. The battle cries are from the demonic spirits. Lu Ming answered. An ancient city. The old men's eyes lit up. They had come here in search of opportunities because their lifespans were about to run out. If they could not break through, they would die sooner or later. After cultivating for more than 100,000 years, they were finally reduced to dust. They were unwilling and wanted to give it a try. When they heard that there was an ancient city, they were naturally moved. They speculated that it was very likely that the demonic sea had fallen from the heavenly realm and formed. It definitely contained opportunities. Lu Ming, aren't you going to explore the ancient city? The kind-looking old man asked. I'm not going. Lu Ming shook his head. His main goal in entering the demonic sea was the eternal demonic coffin. He was not too interested in the opportunities. Let's go in then. The kind-looking old man smiled. There were 4 of them in total. They flew in the direction of the ancient city and passed by Lu Ming. Just as the two sides crossed each other, A sword light suddenly bloomed from the hands of the kind-looking old man, slashing toward Lu Ming's neck. The sword light cut through the air with a terrifying whistling sound. It was extremely sharp. At the same time, the other three Emperor-to-be also made their move. All kinds of terrifying attacks were aimed at Lu Ming's vital parts. However, when the four attacks landed on Lu Ming, the chaotic light burst out from his body and blocked all their attacks. The chaotic light shook and a powerful force surged out. The four Emperor-to-be's bodies trembled and they retreated. "You guys are really looking for death," Lu Ming said coldly, his cold gaze sweeping across the four of them. "You've been on guard against us?" The kind-looking old man said with an ugly expression. At such a close distance, they had launched an attack at an astonishing speed. If Lu Ming had not been on guard against them, he would not have been able to react in such a short time and defend himself and counterattack. The only explanation was that Lu Ming had been on guard against them and had long prepared his defense. "That old fellow, the Azure Devil King, has been showing killing intent towards me from time to time along the way. I've also heard that he's extremely powerful in the Eternal Devil Nation. If he wants to order some people around, there will be many who are willing to become his lackeys. Naturally, I have to be on guard," Lu Ming said indifferently. It could be said that other than the ancient emperor, Lu Ming was wary of everyone else who entered the demonic sea. The old man, Song Demon King, had lost face because of Lu Ming last time. It was obvious that he held a grudge against him and had always wanted to kill him. With the power of Song Demon King, it was normal for him to bribe some people to kill Lu Ming. "Let's go!" The kind-looking old man roared, turned around and ran. They were all too clear about Lu Ming's combat strength. He was not someone they could fight against. Since their sneak attack had failed, they could only run. "Do you think you can escape?" Lu Ming was the first to chase after the kind-looking old man. His speed was shocking. He caught up with the kind-looking old man in a few breaths. The kind-looking old man was almost scared to death. He shouted, "Lu Ming, you can't kill me. This is the Eternal Devil Nation. If you kill me, you'll die too. You're still threatening me at this time. What a joke." Lu Ming shouted coldly. He could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. He pointed his finger and a finger force that had been condensed to the extreme burst out. Although the kind-looking old man tried his best to block it, it was completely useless. The finger force directly pierced through the space between his eyebrows, and even his soul was destroyed. Buzz. After Lu Ming killed the other party, he did not stop and chased after the other three. "Split up and run," one of them shouted, and the three of them fled in 3 different directions. However, Lu Ming caught up to another person and killed him in a few moves. Next, Lu Ming went after the third person. "Don't spare me," the Emperor-to-be shouted. However, Lu Ming was extremely cold. He had to kill these people. "How dare you? You're looking for death." At this moment, an angry roar was heard. In the distance, a terrifying demonic light slashed at Lu Ming at an alarming speed. Before he could finish his sentence, the demonic light was already about to cut Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and a sense of danger rose in his heart. At this moment he burst out with all his strength. The light of chaos surrounded his body as he controlled 2 types of nomological laws and used his strongest move, destruction. Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. Boom. And NBSP, a gray finger of tribulation pointed at the demonic light, erupting with a deafening boom. The demonic light buzzed and was eventually blocked by Lu Ming. However, the chaos finger of tribulation was also cut apart by the demonic light. Lu Ming felt an extremely powerful force surging towards him. His body could not help but retreat a few thousand meters. He felt the qi and blood in his body churning. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. It was definitely a martial emperor. In front of him, a black-robed middle-aged man appeared. This person exuded a terrifying aura. It was the emperor's might. This person is definitely not a 1-star Void Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He had fought with a 1-star Void Emperor before, but he was definitely not as strong as this middle-aged man. Chapter 2054. Chapter 2054, Demon Spirit Army? Chapter 2054. Chapter 2054 Demon Spirit Army. The black-robed middle-aged man looked at Lu Ming coldly and said, "Lu Ming, the Emperor has treated you well and even brought you here to look for the eternal demonic coffin. I didn't expect that you would secretly kill the Devil Nation's experts. You're simply cruel and unscrupulous. You deserve to be killed. Laughable. You want to kill me? There's no need to make it sound so high and mighty. It was the Azure Demon King who sent you to kill me, right? You're just a lackey." Lu Ming ridiculed. At the same time, he was rapidly thinking of a way to escape. Die. The black-robed middle-aged man did not say anything more. He took action immediately. The power of the world burst forth and turned into a saber light, slashing at Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. A 2-star illusionary emperor. Lu Ming determined that this person should be a 2-star illusionary emperor. He was stronger than a 1-star illusionary emperor, but not to such an outrageous extent. However, a 2-star illusionary emperor was far from what Lu Ming could withstand. Buzz. Lu Ming turned around and left. He turned into a ray of light and headed in the direction of the ancient city. If he wanted to shake off his opponent, he could only rely on the ancient city. "You want to leave?" "No way." The black-robed middle-aged man shouted coldly. He turned into a black light and chased after Lu Ming. At the same time, he slashed out a black demonic light. Lu Ming's body glowed. Dozens of absolute saint weapons and 2 sovereign weapons floated in the air. The dozens of weapons gathered together, and the combat weapon chi gathered to form a huge defensive weapon. At the same time, the laws of chaos and the light of chaos were added to the combat weapon. Lu Ming did not care about it and moved forward at top speed. Buzz. The black-robed middle-aged man's demonic light slashed at the combat weapon behind Lu Ming. The combat weapon trembled and the dozens of weapons were almost scattered. If it weren't for the 2 monarch weapons, the fact that the battle weapon chi was perfectly fused together, and the chaotic light and chaotic laws, an ordinary absolute saint weapon would have been shattered by this attack. The terrifying power gushed towards Lu Ming continuously. He felt his blood churning and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. But in the end he still managed to block it. Moreover, that force had become his driving force, allowing him to fly forward at a faster speed. The black-robed middle-aged man's face turned cold. Lu Ming's strength was really terrifying. He was actually blocked even with his 2-star illusionary divine combat strength. However, at the thought of the reward promised by the Azure Demon King, his heart burned with passion and he chased after Lu Ming even faster. In front of the ancient city, there were tens of thousands of demon spirits. They were all wearing armor and holding weapons, shouting and killing. Lu Ming was approaching the ancient city rapidly. Buzz. At this moment, the middle-aged man in the black robe launched another attack. A beam of demonic light slashed at the combat weapon behind Lu Ming, causing it to shake. This time, Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. With his current battle strength, he could still contend with an ordinary 1-star Void Emperor. However, the difference between him and a 2-star Void Emperor was too great. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and endured it. He rushed toward the dark mass of Ling Kill. Some of the demon spirits discovered Lu Ming. Their killing intent was like a tide, sweeping towards Lu Ming. At the same time, various weapons were launched at Lu Ming. It's equivalent to the Great Saint Realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he determined the strength of the demon spirit that was attacking him. Therefore, he did not stop at all. He used the chaotic light to protect his body and rushed over. Bang! Bang! The Ling that attacked Lu Ming exploded. In an instant, Lu Ming had dashed a few hundred meters. However, more demon spirits immediately charged at Lu Ming. Their combat strength was stronger than before, reaching the absolute saint realm. Lu Ming did not care and continued to rush forward. Behind him, the black-robed middle-aged man stopped. He did not dare to be like Lu Ming and rush over rashly. It was a good time to observe first. Behind them, there were more than 10 figures rushing over. They were all old men in the Emperor-to-be realm. It was obvious that most of them had arrived later. Just the few of you? the black-robed middle-aged man said coldly as he swept his gaze across the crowd. The two martial sovereigns will be here soon. A white-haired old man said. Yes, we've been entrusted by the Azure Demon King to kill Lu Ming. We can't make any mistakes. One of us will stay here and wait for the other martial supremes. The rest of you will follow me and prepare to charge into this ancient city, the black-robed man ordered. At this time, Lu Ming had been charging forward and he had already covered more than half the distance. Although there were many demon spirits, they were too scattered. Moreover, there were not many experts in the first section. The strongest was only a perfected absolute saint. They could not stop Lu Ming at all. However, the closer they got to the ancient city, the stronger Mo Ling's strength became. Buzz! Buzz! A few rusty iron swords came slashing at Lu Ming. The blades whistled as if they were going to tear Lu Ming apart. This was the attack power of an emperor-to-be. Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. He threw a punch and a phantom of the prison-suppressing steel appeared, crashing forward. Bang! Bang! A few demon spirits were sent flying by the prison-suppressing steel and turned into ashes in the air. The prison-suppressing heavenly art really does have a restraining effect on this demon spirit. Lu Ming's eyes brightened. He kept swinging his fists and the emperor-to-be demon spirits were sent flying. Even when facing an emperor-to-be demon spirit, Lu Ming's speed did not slow down. He quickly approached the ancient city. The black-robed middle-aged man finally couldn't help but roar, "Charge with me!" Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! The black-robed middle-aged man took the lead and rushed out. More than 10 emperor-to-be followed him like a long spear, stabbing toward the demon spirit army. Only one emperor-to-be was left to meet the others. The black-robed middle-aged man was, after all, a 2-star illusionary emperor. He led more than 10 emperor-to-be experts and instantly pierced through the army of demon spirits like a long spear, chasing after Lu Ming. Ordinary demon spirits could not stop them at all. When the black-robed middle-aged man was halfway through, Lu Ming was already about to break through the Mo Ling's defense. However, at this moment, Lu Ming was in trouble. 2 terrifying demon spirits launched an attack at Lu Ming. These 2 demon spirits were both wearing rusty armor. One held a sword, and the other held a spear. Their strength was extremely shocking. These were 2 demon spirits that were equivalent to 1-star Void Emperor. The iron sword and long spear flew towards Lu Ming, shattering his prison-suppressing steel's illusionary shadow and blocking his path. Lu Ming's heart sank slightly. Sure enough, there was a martial emperor in the demon spirit army. Fortunately, they were not too terrifying. The 2 demon spirits were only equivalent to 1-star Void Emperor. Lu Ming has been blocked. Let's kill our way over. The black-robed middle-aged man's eyes lit up. He charged toward Lu Ming at an even faster speed. With the 2 demon spirits blocking Lu Ming and him, Lu Ming would definitely die. Prison-suppressing steel. At this moment, Lu Ming's mind moved. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline floated out and expanded rapidly. It emitted thousands of rays of light and suppressed the 2 demon spirits. Boom! Boom! The bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel was more effective against the demon spirits. The 2 demon spirits were sent flying by the force of the steel. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he broke through the demon spirit army's encirclement, rushing towards the ancient city. The strange thing was that when Lu Ming was within a certain range of the ancient city, the demon spirits stopped in their tracks and no longer chased after him. Lu Ming put away the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and sprinted towards the city gate of the ancient city. Chapter 2055. Chapter 2054, Man, Eating Armor. Chapter 2055. Chapter 2054 Man Eating Armor. The city gate of the ancient city was open, but the light inside the city seemed to be very dim. From the outside, the large buildings in the city were hazy and could not be seen clearly. Boom! Boom! Behind them, the black-robed middle-aged man continued to blast away Mo Ling and chased after them. Lu Ming did not stop and rushed into the ancient city. However, the moment he rushed into the ancient city, Lu Ming's expression changed. He couldn't fly in the ancient city. The ancient city forbade flying, and there was a mysterious power that prevented him from flying. Moreover, the light in the city was indeed very dim and the visibility was not high. With Lu Ming's eyesight, he could not see very far. In the city, there were many huge palaces and all kinds of ancient buildings. They were tall and majestic, like behemoths standing in the ancient city. Lu Ming dashed into a small alley. He ran wildly in the small alley and then turned to another small alley. There were countless streets and alleys in the ancient city. After making a few turns, Lu Ming was already far away from the city gate. At the same time, the black-robed middle-aged man had also rushed into the ancient city with his men. As soon as they entered the ancient city, their expressions changed because they felt that they couldn't fly. There might be opportunities in this ancient city. Let's look for Lu Ming while looking for opportunities. The black-robed middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a hint of greed. Then he asked 2 emperor-to-be to guard the city gate. If they found Lu Ming, they would inform him immediately. He took the rest of the emperor-to-be and chose a random street and ran. At this moment, 2 more people arrived outside the ancient city. These were 2 old men with exceptionally powerful auras. They were both powerhouses of the empty emperor realm. After the emperor-to-be who had stayed outside to provide support briefly explained the situation, the 2 void emperors also rushed toward the ancient city. Although there were martial emperor realm demon spirits among the demon spirits, the 2 of them were focused on charging forward and did not linger on the battle. The illusionary emperor demon spirits could not stop them. After a while, they also rushed into the ancient city. Lu Ming strolled around the ancient city, bypassing many ancient and strange buildings. In the city, it was silent and abnormally quiet. It was empty, without a single living being. What's in these buildings? Lu Ming was curious. He rushed to the wall of a building and looked inside. The inside of the building was also empty, with nothing inside. It was an empty city. Lu Ming looked at a few buildings consecutively. They were all empty. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He saw the door of a hall in front of him, which was ajar. The doors of the other buildings were all closed, except for this palace. Could it have been opened by those people from the Eternal Demon Nation? Lu Ming pondered. The bunch from the ancient Devil Nation must have entered as well. It wasn't surprising that they were the ones who opened the door. Lu Ming restrained his aura and approached the door, looking inside. His pupils suddenly constricted when he took a look. There was a small courtyard in the palace. In the courtyard there was a figure. This figure was sitting cross-legged, wearing armor, but under the armor, there was a skeleton. The armor was rusty and had dark red blood stains. It seemed that he was an ancient person who had fallen for a long time. Lu Ming observed for a while and left the place, continuing to walk through the ancient city. He pondered if he should return to the city gate and leave the ancient city. He didn't know why, but he had a bad feeling. He felt that this ancient city was very strange. After turning around for a while, 7 or 8 figures suddenly flashed at the end of the street in front of them. They were the black-robed middle-aged man and the emperors-to-be. The other party also saw Lu Ming at a glance. "Lu Ming, where do you think you are going now?" The black-robed middle-aged man said coldly as he chased after Lu Ming. Lu Ming turned around and ran towards another street. The middle-aged man in the black robe was in hot pursuit. They had explored a few ancient buildings in succession but did not find anything. There was no opportunity that they had imagined. Therefore, Lu Ming could not let it go. At the very least, if they killed Lu Ming, they would be rewarded handsomely by the Tsang Demon King. Very soon, Lu Ming had turned 2 streets. However, at this moment, 2 more figures appeared in front of him. Lu Ming's expression changed when he saw the 2 of them. Their auras were extremely terrifying. They were also martial emperors. Lu Ming. When the 2 of them saw Lu Ming, their eyes flashed with killing intent and they charged at him. Stop Lu Ming. The black-robed man laughed. Lu Ming's face darkened. It seemed that the Azure Demon King really wanted to kill him. He had actually secretly allied with so many people. Naturally, Lu Ming could not stop to fight with the other party. The other party had 3 void emperors. Once he was entangled, he would definitely die. Lu Ming's figure changed and he dashed out from the right side of the street. All. At this moment, an extremely shrill scream reverberated through the silent ancient city. Lu Ming turned around and took a quick glance. He immediately felt a little scared. He saw an emperor-to-be who was chasing after him. He was at the back of the group and was covered in armor. It was a rusty armor with dark blood stains. The emperor-to-be's body was quickly shriveling up as if his blood essence had been devoured. What the hell is this? Get lost. The black-robed middle-aged man roared as he waved his hand, and a black demonic blade slashed at the armor. Buzz. A crisp sound rang out as the demonic blade struck the armor, but there was not a single mark on the armor. As for the emperor-to-be, he had stopped screaming and turned into a skeleton. Let's attack together. The black-robed middle-aged man was furious, and he attacked the armor with all kinds of attacks. However, the armor flickered and rushed into a building. By the time they entered the building, the armor was gone. The black-robed middle-aged man's and the others' faces turned gloomy. Continue to chase after Lu Ming. The black-robed middle-aged man bellowed in anger. They continued to chase in the direction that Lu Ming had escaped. However, it didn't take long before another scream was heard. That armor came out of nowhere and entangled another emperor-to-be. The black-robed middle-aged man and the others launched a storm of attacks. All kinds of attacks landed on the armor, making clanking sounds. In the end, they flashed and rushed into another building. The armor ate people. Everyone was scared. What was going on? It was just a piece of armor, but it had rushed out repeatedly and devoured people's blood essence. An emperor-to-be had no power to resist. This was too horrifying. The faces of the remaining emperors-to-be turned pale. The emperor-to-be will walk in the middle. The three of us will guard the periphery. The black-robed middle-aged man said. He let the emperor-to-be walk in the middle and the three void emperors guard the periphery. Not far away, Lu Ming also heard the screams and felt a little scared. A piece of armor actually ate people. More importantly, Lu Ming felt that this armor looked very familiar. It was exactly the same as the armor on a corpse that he had seen in the courtyard. Could it be that armor? Chapter 2056. Intense Battle in the Ancient City? Chapter 2056. Intense Battle in the Ancient City. Lu Ming was sprinting when he suddenly felt his hair stand on end. He felt a sense of danger approaching. He turned around abruptly and pointed his finger behind him. Buzz. The energy of Arichi chaotic finger of tribulation burst out and hit a piece of armor. Clang. The armor shook a little, but it was fine. It did not leave any traces behind. It swayed twice in the air and pounced directly at Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Bush. Lu Ming repeatedly pointed the finger of tribulation of chaos at Rhe armor, but it was useless. The armor only shook a few times and continued to pounce on Lu Ming. Lu Ming saw that there was blood flowing on the armor. It stretched out toward him like tentacles. Lu Ming activated the chaos laws and the light of chaos to resist. However, when the tentacle touched the chaotic laws and chaotic lights, they started to rock heavily and were torn apart in one breath. Lu Ming's figure retreated rapidly, his hair standing on end. This armor was extremely terrifying. It could not even block the light of chaos. Prison suppression. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The prison-suppressing steel-s bloodline emerged behind him, emitting a brilliant light that suppressed the armor. Chi. When the blood-red tentacles on the armor touched the energy of the prison-suppressing steel, they made a sizzling sound, like ice being thrown into a fire, melting quickly. The blood-red tentacles retracted, and the armor disappeared in a flash. That was close. Lu Ming put away the prison-suppressing steel and heaved a long sigh. The armor was extremely evil. It seemed to have a spirit and was indestructible. It was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming is there. Not far away, a loud roar came from the black-robed middle-aged man and the others, who were chasing after Lu Ming. It was obvious that they had discovered Lu Ming's use of the prison-suppressing steel. The light was too strong. You really don't want to give up. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and he dashed in one direction. Not long after, Lu Ming arrived in front of a hall. The door of the hall was left ajar. Lu Ming restrained his aura to the extreme. He approached the door and looked inside. In the courtyard, there had been a skeleton wearing armor. Now, there was another skeleton, but the armor was gone. "It's indeed this armor," Lu Ming muttered. Then, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline emerged and floated above his head. Lu Ming rushed toward the skeleton. There was nothing unusual. Lu Ming came to the side of the skeleton. Buzz. At this moment, the door flashed and the armor appeared. It twisted in a very human-like way, as if it was very nervous. "Don't come any closer. Otherwise, it'll destroy this skeleton." Lu Ming condensed a large hand with his holy power and grabbed the skeleton. As expected, the armor stopped and did not dare to approach. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It seemed that his guess was right. The armor and the skeleton were one. Or rather, the owner of the armor was the skeleton. Perhaps the skeleton had been very powerful when it was alive, and the powerful energy from its death had nourished the armor, allowing it to gain sentience. However, the armor was still restricted by the skeleton. Once the skeleton was destroyed, the armor would also be affected. "Back off," Lu Ming said coldly. The armor twisted a few times, but in the end, it still retreated. Lu Ming revealed a smile. "Follow behind me. Don't do anything rash. One can destroy this skeleton with a single thought." Having said that, Lu Ming left the courtyard and headed in one direction. The armor could only follow behind Lu Ming obediently. "Come on," Lu Ming sneered. The prison-suppressing steel expanded rapidly and emitted a bright light that could be seen from far away. Then he put away the prison-suppressing steel and hid the armor in a building, waiting quietly. They didn't have to wait long before a figure flickered in front of them. It was a black-robed middle-aged man who was leading a group of people over at extreme speed. However, he did not see the other two martial sovereigns. Lu Ming smiled and looked behind him. Two silhouettes approached at top speed from behind. They were the two martial sovereigns who had chased after him. Obviously, the other party was afraid that Lu Ming would run away and attacked him from both sides. Two one-star Void Emperor. Lu Ming revealed a cold smile and stood there without moving. Buzz. Buzz. In a flash, the black-robed middle-aged man, along with 7 or 8 Emperor-to-be and 2 Void Emperors, surrounded Lu Ming. "It seems like that old fellow Gang Demon King really spent a lot of money to kill me." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Lu Ming, although you're a genius, it's a pity that you don't know how to conduct yourself. You even dared to offend the Azure Demon King. Only death awaits you." The black-robed middle-aged man said coldly. Lu Ming was really speechless. Speaking of which, from the beginning to the end, he had never taken the initiative to provoke the Azure Demon King. It was the other party who had been targeting him. First, he was not allowed to participate in the competition. In the end, Lu Ming defeated the ancient devil and slapped him in the face. Did he not ask for it? Such a person could only be described as narrow-minded. "If you want to kill me, be careful not to lose your lives here." Lu Ming sneered. Boom. Lu Ming moved and cast destruction. The primal chaos tribulation finger pointed at RHE black-robed man. "You're overestimating yourself." The black-robed middle-aged man moved as well. His palm was like a blade as he slashed out. A demonic blade light slashed towards Lu Ming. Boom. Destruction. The finger of tribulation of chaos was shattered after only a few strikes. Lu Ming retreated hastily. But at this moment, the armor rushed out of a building and entangled an Emperor-to-be. The Emperor-to-be let out a shrill scream and his body quickly withered. "Kill Lu Ming first." The black-robed middle-aged man roared and charged at Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming dashed into a hall at the side. The black-robed middle-aged burly man and 2 other martial sovereigns rushed into the hall and chased after Lu Ming. Of course, that included the Emperor-to-be. The palace was huge, but it was empty. There was not a single living being in it. Lu Ming rushed into the hall and headed deep into the hall. Ah! Behind them, another shrill scream was heard. The armor swallowed one Emperor-to-be and then entangled another. Moreover, as the armor devoured the Emperor-to-be, it seemed to become stronger and stronger. In the beginning, it would take several breaths to devour an emperor-to-be, but now, it only took one breath. Damn it! The black-robed middle-aged man roared. If this went on, the emperor-to-be W2'd be devoured. You too, continue chasing. I'll go block that armor. The black-robed middle-aged man roared and turned around to attack the armor. By the time he arrived, another emperor-to-be had been swallowed by the armor. In just a short while, 3 emperor-to-be had already been devoured by the armor. The black-robed middle-aged man was furious. He attacked with all his might. However, the armor didn't fight with him at all. It flickered a few times and escaped. The remaining 5 emperor-to-be's faces were pale and bloodless. Next, follow me closely, the black-robed man said. Chapter 2057, Devouring the Void Emperor. Chapter 2057, Devouring the Void Emperor. The black-robed middle-aged man led RHE remaining 5 emperors-to-be in pursuit of Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming and the 2 illusionary thearchs had already rushed out of RHE Hall and ran a long distance away. Lu Ming died. Well, give you a quick death. You've offended RHE Azure Demon King. Your fate is already decided. The 2 void thearchs continued to shout coldly, provoking Lu Ming. Lu Ming could not be bothered with him. He wandered around the winding streets. After running for a while, Lu Ming suddenly stopped and sneered, "You want to kill me? Come." 11 bang. Bang. Lu Ming took a few steps forward and charged towards the 2 void thearchs. The 2 illusionary thearchs were stunned. They did not understand why Lu Ming had suddenly stopped running. However, Lu Ming's stopping was exactly what they wanted. Kill. 11. The 2 void thearchs charged towards Lu Ming. However, at this moment, RHE armor rushed out of a building on the side and pounced on one of RHE void emperors. The void thearch was shocked and quickly changed the direction of his attack, bombarding the armor. However, the armor was sturdy and immortal. It only trembled slightly before it continued to charge at RHE void emperor. Tentacles emerged from the armor and wrapped around the other party. Chaos Finger. Lu Ming, on the other hand, cast the chaotic finger of tribulation with all his might and charged at the other void emperor. Given Lu Ming's current combat strength, the illusionary divine did not dare to be careless. He also unleashed his full strength and attacked Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming and the illusionary the arch exchanged 2 blows. Although he was at a disadvantage, he was blocked by the illusionary the arch. Lu Ming had once fought against the He family's illusionary emperor. However, the He family's illusionary emperor had just broken through to the 1-star illusionary emperor realm not long ago. His combat strength was not as strong as the person in front of him, but it was not too far off. Although Lu Ming was no match for him, he was a threat to the other party. Lu Ming's back glowed and the 3rd bloodline appeared. Lu Ming had borrowed a par of the 3rd bloodline's power. However, Lu Ming was very careful. He did nor dare to borrow too much and only borrowed the part that he could control. Even so, Lu Ming's abilities had increased greatly. And NBSP whoosh, Lu Ming continued to use the Chaos Finger of Tribulation. After borrowing the power of his 3rd bloodline, Lu Ming's strength increased greatly. He could finally fight his opponent head-on and not be at a disadvantage. Lu Ming was holding one of them back, while RHE other Void Emperor was in danger. The power of the armor had indeed increased greatly after devouring several Emperor-to-be experts. The armor was already very terrifying. It could nor even block Lu Ming's light of chaos. And now, the power of the armor had increased greatly. In addition to Lu Ming's threat, it exploded with a terrifying power. The Emperor-to-be's attacks kept hitting the armor, but it was useless. The armor kept getting closer and closer, and the blood-red tentacles reached out and broke the defense of the opponent. A blood-red tentacle wrapped itself around the Void Emperor and began to devour him. Get lost! The Void Emperor roared in fear and struggled with all his might, but it was useless. The armor wrapped around him tighter and tighter, like an octopus. It wrapped around him tightly and began to devour him. Arg! Save me, quickly save me! 11 The Void the Arch screamed and twisted his body frantically. However, it was all in vain. He felt that everything in his body had been devoured by the armor. His body was rapidly shriveling. The other illusionary the arch was shocked and wanted to save him, but he was held back by Lu Ming. At this moment, the black-robed middle-aged man finally arrived with his men. However, by the time he arrived, the Void Emperor, who had been bound by the armor, was already beyond saving. His body had completely shriveled up and turned into a skeleton. His essence, chi, and spirit had disappeared without a trace. On the armor, a layer of bright red light spread out, as if there was blood flowing on it. Buzz! The armor moved and pounced directly at the illusionary divine who was fighting Lu Ming. Get lost! The Void Emperor launched an attack in an attempt to break through the armor and escape. However, Lu Ming would not give him the chance to do so. He pointed his finger at the man's chest, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood and be severely injured. The armor wrapped itself around him and its tentacles wrapped around him, starting to devour him. Help! 11 The Void Emperor cried out in horror. The black-robed middle-aged man's face turned pale with fear. If even a 1-star Void Emperor could not put up any resistance, then he, a 2-star Void Emperor, would probably not be able to do so. Let's go! The black-robed middle-aged man turned around and left without hesitation. This ancient city was too strange. If he stayed any longer, he would probably lose his life. The 5 Emperor-to-be followed the black-robed middle-aged man and rushed toward the gate of the city. They didn't want to stay in this ancient city for a second longer. The Void Emperor, who was entangled by the armor, let out a desperate roar. Not long after, he was completely devoured by the armor and turned into a skeleton. After devouring 2 Void Thearchs in a row, the armor emitted a piercing blood-red light. It was extremely terrifying. The armor seemed to be staring at Lu Ming and was wandering around him. Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. The prison-suppressing steel was suspended in the air. At the same time, he grabbed the skeleton and stared at the armor. The armor flew a few rounds. It seemed to be afraid that Lu Ming would destroy the bones. Moreover, it was also very afraid of the prison-suppressing steel. In the end, it retreated a distance away from Lu Ming. Chase! Lu Ming muttered and chased after the black-robed middle-aged man and the rest, the armor following behind him. However, when Lu Ming rushed to the ancient city's gate, he realized that the middle-aged man in the black robe and the rest had already rushed out of the city and into the demon spirit army. They were trying to break out of the siege. Buzz! Lu Ming had also rushed out of the city, but the armor remained in the city. It seemed that it could not leave the city. No matter how Lu Ming threatened it, it was useless. Lu Ming sighed in regret and could only retreat back out of the city. Not long after, the black-robed middle-aged man broke out of the demon spirit's encirclement. However, he did not go far away. Instead, he stood guard. His expression was extremely unsightly. This time, they had really suffered heavy losses. After entering RH ancient city, not only had 4 Emperor-to-be died, but 2 Void Emperors had also died inside. An Emperor-to-be couldn't compare to an Emperor-to-be. An Emperor-to-be was already a martial emperor. Perhaps only 1 out of 100 Emperor-to-be could break through to the martial emperor realm. Send a message to the Azure Demon King. Well, wait here. It seems that the armor won't come out. The black-robed middle-aged man said coldly. Without the armor, Lu Ming did not take it to heart. Lu Ming observed the city for a while and noticed that the black-robed middle-aged man was standing guard outside the city. He could not help but frown. The black-robed middle-aged burly man was a 2-star Void Emperor. Even if he borrowed the power of the 3rd bloodline, he would not be able to break out. Let's take a look at this ancient city and see if there are any other forces that we can borrow. Or perhaps, there are other city gates that we can use to head outside. Lu Ming pondered, then turned around and headed into the ancient city. This ancient city was too large, vast, and boundless. With the no-fly zone, flying was not allowed, so it would take a lot of time to run. Lu Ming explored more than 10 buildings in the city, but he did not find anything. There was nothing strange about it. This ancient city seemed to have nothing else other than the armor and the skeleton in Lu Ming's hands. Chapter 2058. The Creatures in the Ancient City? Chapter 2058. The Creatures in the Ancient City. To Lu Ming's disappointment, he came to the left and right sides of the ancient city, but he could not see the city gates. There were only tall and majestic city walls. There seemed to be a force on the city walls that prevented him from going up. In other words, it was impossible to get out of the city wall. This ancient city can't only have one city gate, right? Lu Ming was speechless. Most large cities would not have only one gate. Even if they had fewer, they would have at least two. Normally, there were 4, 8, or even more. Perhaps there's a city gate in the depths of the ancient city, in the direction of the city gate. Lu Ming pondered. He planned to enter the depths of the ancient city and pass through it. Just as Lu Ming was about to set off to the depths of the ancient city, some figures descended outside the ancient city. One of them had 8 people, 4 of whom were martial sovereigns. The one leading them was an old man, who was the Azure Demon King. The Azure Demon King held immense power in the Eternal Devil Nation. He was of the same generation as the Eternal Emperor and was a peak true emperor. He was highly regarded by the Eternal Emperor, and many people in the Eternal Devil Nation would give him face. They had only killed Lu Ming, a junior. Moreover, the Azure Demon King had promised a generous reward. Naturally, many people followed the Azure Demon King to kill Lu Ming. What's going on? The Azure Demon King arrived and swept his cold gaze across the black-robed middle-aged man. It's like this. The black-robed middle-aged man trembled as he explained the situation in the ancient city. An armor? A glint flashed in the Azure Demon King's eyes, followed by a cold killing intent. They had lost so many experts because of Lu Ming. Lu Ming deserved to die. Those above the rank of Marshal Supreme, follow me. The rest of you, stay outside. The Azure Demon King instructed before flying into the ancient city. The Azure Demon King was an expert at the peak of the true Emperor realm. He was too strong. In the hands of the Azure Demon King, those demonic spirits were like ants. With a single palm strike, a large number of demonic spirits were destroyed. They easily charged through the demon spirit army and into the ancient city. Split up into groups of 2 and look for Lu Ming. Once you find him, send out the news immediately. The Azure Demon King said. The people who had come with the Azure Demon King this time were no small matter. There were a total of 3 people. One of them was a true emperor, and the other 2 were void emperors. However, they were all 5-star void emperors and above. Their strength was much stronger than that of the black-robed middle-aged man. The black-robed middle-aged man followed the true emperor to the right. The 2 powerful void thearchs went to the left, while the Azure Demon King went to the middle, searching for Lu Ming inch by inch. At this moment, Lu Ming had already passed through the center of the ancient city and was heading deeper into the city. In contrast to the direction of the city gate, this side was indeed the depths of the ancient city. When Lu Ming arrived at the depths of the ancient city, he felt a little creeped out. He kept having a sense of danger. The buildings here are more majestic. They look like small castles. Lu Ming sized up his surroundings. The buildings here were indeed more majestic. They were pitch black and filled with the aura of time. Lu Ming moved forward carefully. The armor was following him closely. Thump. Suddenly, a building in front of them started to shake. Lu Ming was shocked and stopped. Thump. Then, the building started to shake again, as if a giant beast was attacking the castle. After a few vibrations, the sound disappeared again. Lu Ming frowned. He activated the divine breath technique and restrained his aura to the extreme. Then, he continued to move forward. When Lu Ming passed by the building, there was a loud roar from the building. Then the sound of iron chains clashing could be heard. The next moment, Lu Ming saw a claw reaching out from the building. This claw was like the claw of a wild beast. It was covered in black scales, and there were black chains wrapped around the claw. The claw was as big as a house and it grabbed at Lu Ming, exuding a terrifying aura. Lu Ming was shocked and he retreated rapidly. However, the claw suddenly expanded and became longer and bigger at an alarming speed. It grabbed at Lu Ming at an alarming speed. Seeing that Lu Ming was about to be caught, Lu Ming controlled the prison-suppressing steel. The prison-suppressing steel glowed and shot towards the claw. Chi. The claw was covered by the light of the prison-guarding steel, making a sizzling sound and black smoke. Another loud roar came from the building as the claw retracted. Lu Ming retreated continuously. After he had retreated a certain distance, he heaved a long sigh of relief. Lu Ming was shocked to find that there were living creatures in the building. It looked as if it was locked. This ancient city seemed to have existed for countless years. Why were there still living beings here? Could it be that the creature in the building was locked up by the original owner of the ancient city? However, to be able to survive for so long without dying, it was definitely extremely powerful. Let's change the direction. Lu Ming left the place and walked to the right for a while before he continued to move forward. In front of them, there were still many huge buildings. Lu Ming carefully passed through some buildings, but he did not discover anything unusual. It seemed that not every building had living creatures. Even if there were, it was possible that they had already died after such a long time. There were not many who could have survived. However, Lu Ming's good luck did not last long. With a roar, a claw stretched out from a building. This claw was even bigger than the previous one. It was covered with black scales and had long nails, like the claw of a demon. Lu Ming blocked the attack with the prison-suppressing steel and retreated quickly. Fortunately, the prison-guarding steel had a strong restraining effect on this kind of claw. As soon as the claw came into contact with the light of the prison-guarding steel, it quickly retreated back into the building. Lu Ming retreated a distance and wandered around the area. It seemed that all the buildings in this area had those terrifying creatures. He didn't know which ones had it and which ones didn't. Even with the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline, it would not be safe for him to force his way through. Lu Ming pondered. At this moment, a few figures were rushing in Lu Ming's direction at top speed. When the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline glowed, he was discovered even though he was far away. Gang Demon King and the others rushed towards Lu Ming at top speed, with him being the fastest. Although he was a peak true emperor and was forbidden from flying in the ancient city, his speed was still shocking. Just as Lu Ming was hesitating whether he should charge in, he suddenly had a bad feeling. He looked behind him and saw a figure flashing toward him at high speed. In an instant, the figure appeared not far from Lu Ming. Demon King Tsang. Lu Ming's pupils contracted rapidly. Lu Ming die. The Azure Demon King launched an attack on Lu Ming. Block it! Lu Ming shouted and the armor charged at the Azure Demon King. Boom! The Azure Demon King was so powerful that he sent the armor flying. While he was calling for the armor to take action, Lu Ming had already rushed into the depths of the ancient city. Chapter 2059. Chapter 2058. Pursuit. Chapter 2059. Chapter 2058. Pursuit. In the face of an expert like the Azure Demon King, only death awaited them if they rushed out. Only by rushing in would they have a chance of survival. Kill! The Ashen Demon King bellowed as he chased after Lu Ming, but the armor had caught up to him again. The armor was covered in rust, but it was now emitting a thick blood-red light. Tentacles stretched out and wrapped around the Azure Demon King. Boom! The Azure Demon King punched out, and the terrifying force of his fist sent the armor flying far away. However, the material of the armor was indeed extraordinary and indestructible. It wasn't shattered by the Azure Demon King. After the armor was knocked away, it flew back towards the Ashen Demon King. Looking at Lu Ming heading deeper into the ancient city, the Azure Demon King's face was filled with anger. At the same time, the other 4 people had also arrived. You guys go after Lu Ming, the Ashen Demon King said coldly. The other 4 nodded and chased into the depths of the ancient city. The Azure Demon King's cold eyes stared at the armor, and a layer of black flames spread out from his body. This was a type of demonic fire. It was extremely terrifying and had an astonishingly high temperature. He pressed down with one hand, and demonic fire surged out, enveloping the armor. After all, Song Demon King was a peak true emperor expert. Although the material of his armor was sturdy and immortal, the energy it contained wasn't high. How could he be a match for Song Demon King? After being enveloped by the demonic flames, the armor let out a sizzling sound. The bright red blood was quickly refined by the demonic flames. Not long after, the armor fell to the ground with a clang, as if it had become a pile of scrap iron. In the armor, not only was the blood refined, but everything else was also refined, including the only trace of the imprint. It disappeared without a trace, completely turning into a pile of scrap iron. Lu Ming, who was running, was startled. The skeleton in his hand turned into ashes with a bang. Lu Ming knew that the armor would not be able to stop the Azure Demon King. He was at the peak of the true emperor realm and was only one step away from becoming a great emperor. His combat strength was too strong. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Behind him, 4 figures were chasing after Lu Ming at an alarming speed. They were the 4 martial emperor powerhouses. One of them was covered in world divine light. He was clearly a true emperor. This true emperor was the fastest. He chased after Lu Ming as fast as lightning. At this moment, a loud roar came from a huge building. A huge claw reached out from the building and grabbed at Lu Ming. "Let's go all out." Lu Ming did not stop and continued to rush inside. At the same time, he controlled the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and made it float above his head. The bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel glowed brightly. As soon as the huge claw got close to the prison-suppressing steel, it quickly retracted as if it was burned by fire. Lu Ming successfully rushed past the building and continued to venture deeper. In just a few breaths, the true emperor caught up. The true emperor had naturally seen the huge claw just now. At this moment, the power of the world circulated through his entire body, and he was on full alert. Sure enough, as soon as the true emperor got close, the claw stretched out and turned into the size of a house. "What the hell is this? Die!" The true emperor shouted coldly. The power of his world burst forth and turned into a battle axe that slashed down. Boom! The battle axe struck the giant palm, but the palm only trembled a little and was completely fine. It only left a shallow mark on the scales. On the other hand, the true emperor's body swayed and he took a few steps back. There seemed to be a terrifying demon in the building. It roared continuously and clawed at the true emperor again. He extended his arm. It was an arm covered in black scales and wrapped in black chains. It made clanking sounds as it grabbed at the true emperor. It was as if a world was floating out of the true emperor's body. In an instant, several colors of light fused together and unleashed a terrifying attack. This was the combined use of several laws, and its power was very terrifying. Compared to Lu Ming, who was only at the initial stage of the fusion of 2 types of laws, it was many times stronger. At the martial emperor realm, one could cultivate many types of laws. They could even merge with each other and have extremely shocking power. Boom! The true emperor's attack clashed with the giant claw. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of metal chains clashing could be heard. The giant claw was blocked, but the true emperor was also blocked. He couldn't rush over. "This creature is locked inside and can't come out. Oh, stop it. You guys rush over and kill Lu Ming." The true emperor opened his mouth and launched another attack. He fought against the huge hand and entangled it. The other 3 people's faces were grave. They went around the area and rushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming continued to venture deeper. He passed by more than 10 huge buildings and there was nothing unusual. Thump, thump. Just as Lu Ming continued to run, a loud boom came from a building in front of him. A large hand grabbed at Lu Ming. Not only was this huge hand covered in thick scales, but it also carried a terrifying cold current as it swept towards Lu Ming. Even though he was very far away, Lu Ming felt as if he was going to be frozen. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and continued to bombard the prison-suppressing steel with his bloodline. Fortunately, the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel could still restrain the other party. The big hand reached back and Lu Ming rushed past it. Behind him, the black-robed middle-aged man and the other 2 had very serious expressions. They were not true emperors. They did not dare to charge forward. They went around the building and chased after Lu Ming. However, they weren't so lucky. Not long after they went around, a claw reached out from another building and grabbed them. Not good, retreat. One of them had a huge change in expression as he frantically retreated. The other two's expressions also changed, and they also retreated. But it was too late. The black-robed middle-aged man had the weakest cultivation. He was only a 2-star Void Emperor, and he was immediately caught. He let out a shrill scream and tried to break free, but it was no use. The big hand clenched, and the black-robed middle-aged man's bone armor burst with a crackling sound, making him spit out a large mouthful of blood. He no longer had the strength to struggle. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and fear. He had come in to kill Lu Ming for the reward. The generous reward could even help him survive the next great calamity. But now he would die here. After the big hand grabbed the black-robed middle-aged man, it stretched back. Then, the building was filled with shrill screams and the sound of chewing. The other 2 Void Thearchs felt a chill run down their spines. Even with their cultivation bases, they were breaking out in cold sweat. It was obvious that the black-robed middle-aged man had been eaten by the creature in the building. The 2 of them didn't dare to move forward and stopped there. "Get lost, you bunch of trash." At this moment, the Azure Demon King rushed over and punched out at the true Emperor's claw. Terrifying demonic fire burned and the claw was thrown off. The scales on the claw flew and fell off. The battle power of a peak true Emperor was not to be underestimated. It was much stronger than a normal true Emperor. Slash. Then, the Ashen Demon King's hand slashed down like a blade. Endless demonic fire turned into a demonic blade and cut the claw off. Chapter 2060. Chapter 2060, Death Before Rebirth. Chapter 2060. Chapter 2060, Death Before Rebirth. The strength of the Azure Demon King was truly terrifying. He was a peak true Emperor. Although the living being in the building was strong, it had definitely been suppressed for countless years and didn't have much fighting power left. The Azure Demon King's demonic saber slashed down, and that huge arm was chopped off. Within the building, a living being roared. The chains clanged and the building rumbled as if a giant beast was about to charge out, but in the end, it didn't. The Ashen Demon King dashed past him, chasing after Lu Ming. Up ahead, Lu Ming's expression was grave. The living beings in these buildings could not stop the Azure Demon King at all. He had to speed up. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and rushed forward at top speed. Not long after, another creature roared from another building. This time, it was a large flame that spewed out from the building. Lu Ming blocked it with the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and rushed past it. Following that, Lu Ming came across a few buildings that had living creatures, but he used the prison-suppressing steel to charge through them. Behind him, Song Demon King was chasing after Lu Ming at an alarming speed. If not for the creatures that obstructed him along the way, he would have caught up to Lu Ming long ago. What do we do? Lu Ming was rapidly thinking of countermeasures in his mind. Now that Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was out of his control, with his own cultivation base, facing the Azure Demon King was a dead end. However, other than the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, he had no other treasures on him that could resist the Song Demon King. After that, Lu Ming crossed a long distance. There were no buildings in front of him, only some low rocks. Lu Ming did not stop. He could only continue to rush forward. Now, he could only try his luck and hope that there was something up ahead that could stop the Azure Demon King. Buzz. Lu Ming was like a fleeting shadow, his speed shocking as he rushed forward. Behind him, the Azure Demon King continued to pass through buildings and soon arrived at the low rocky area. However, Lu Ming, who was in front, suddenly stopped. That was because there was no road ahead. There was a lake that blocked their way. This was a lava lake. It was extremely vast, completely blocking the path ahead, and exuded a terrifying temperature. This was definitely not ordinary lava. Lu Ming felt a sense of danger. Kid, why aren't you running anymore? The Azure Demon King caught up and stopped not far away. He looked at Lu Ming with a faint teasing look. Old man, you're too narrow-minded. You've lost your own face, but you want to blame it on me. As Lu Ming spoke, he was thinking of countermeasures in his mind. Even if he was in a desperate situation, Lu Ming would not give up. It's not a good thing for young people to be in the limelight, the Ashen Demon King said coldly as he walked towards Lu Ming. In his opinion, Lu Ming should not have made a move and sat quietly. How could he embarrass himself in public? Boy, you must have had a lot of fortuitous encounters to reach this stage. Give me everything you have, including some ancient scriptures, and I may let you live. The Azure Demon King laughed coldly. Lu Ming pursed his lips. It would be strange if this old fellow would let him go. Even if he gave him everything, the other party would still kill him and not spare him. What can I do to make you believe me? Lu Ming said. In the current situation, you have to believe it even if you don't want to. The Azure Demon King said coldly. Kill those 3 guys and I'll give it to you. I'll give you all the opportunities I've obtained. Lu Ming looked behind the Ashen Demon King. Behind him, the other 3 experts had followed the Azure Demon King's path to this place. Hearing this, the 3 of them couldn't help but stop, their faces turning pale. The Azure Demon King was cruel and merciless. He might really do so. Brat, you don't have the right to bargain with me now. If you don't hand it over, he'll cripple you right now and then slowly interrogate you to see if you'll hand it over or not. A cold, killing intent burst out from the Azure Demon King's body as terrifying demonic flames spread out. Buzz. At this moment, Lu Ming moved. He took a step forward and his body leaped towards the lava lake. Now, he could only rely on the lava lake to take a gamble. You want to escape? The Ashen Demon King bellowed as he struck out with his palm. Demonic flames filled the sky and enveloped Lu Ming. The demonic flame was like a bolt of lightning. It was astonishingly fast and caught up to Lu Ming in an instant, enveloping him within. Lu Ming let out a beast-like roar. It was too painful. It was too painful to be enveloped by the demonic fire. Lu Ming felt as if his body was about to be burnt. Lu Ming manically circulated his saint energy and covered his body. At the same time, he controlled the law of chaos and the light of chaos to cover the surface of his body and resist the attack of the demonic fire. However, this demonic fire was released by the Azure Demon King. The Peak True Emperor was too terrifying. All of Lu Ming's defenses were burned through in an instant. Plop. At this moment, Lu Ming fell into the lava lake and disappeared. As soon as he entered the lava lake, Lu Ming mustered his remaining strength and frantically rushed down the lava lake. You want to leave? Impossible. The Azure Demon King's expression was extremely cold. He rushed into the lava lake and chased after Lu Ming. Boom, boom. The Azure Demon King waved his palms, stirring up the surrounding lava. A few terrifying demonic flames broke through the lava and blasted toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming could not dodge at all and was hit by a few more demonic flames. The terrifying temperature of the demonic flames burned through Lu Ming's defenses, and a heart-piercing pain spread throughout his body. Even with Lu Ming's current spirit body, he could not withstand it at all. He seemed to feel that his physical body was turning into ashes bit by bit. However, Lu Ming still did not give up. He was charging down crazily. The temperature at the bottom of the lava lake was shockingly high. The further down he went, the higher the temperature became. There was also a terrifying pressure that pressed on Lu Ming from all directions. Lu Ming was completely unable to withstand the dual burning of the Azure Demon King's demonic flames and the magma. His body was slowly burning to ashes. Lu Ming could feel that the flesh and blood on his body were disappearing, and even his bone armor was exposed. However, Lu Ming continued to descend at an astonishing speed because the Azure Demon King was still in pursuit. Boom! Song Emo struck out with his palm again. However, the pressure of the lava here was already shocking. Although Tsang Demon King's palm force had broken through the lava, it had been partially offset and only a part of it landed on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming's hands and feet had turned into ashes in the demonic fire. Only his body was still struggling to hold on as he continued to fall. However, the Azure Demon King didn't give up on his pursuit. The two of them kept going down. Along the way, the Azure Demon King launched a few more attacks, but because of the lava, most of the power was blocked. At this moment, They had already dived down a distance of several thousand meters. At this point, the temperature was already extremely terrifying. Even the Azure Demon King felt a sense of danger. It was as if there was something below that could threaten his safety. This kid is dead for sure. The Azure Demon King snorted. Chapter 2061, Merging the Saint Heart and Reforging the Body. Chapter 2061, Merging the Saint Heart and Reforging the Body. The Azure Demon King was certain that Lu Ming was dead. His demonic flames alone were not something that Lu Ming could withstand. Under his demonic flames, Lu Ming would be reduced to ashes. In addition, they were under the magma lake. The magma here was something that even he was afraid of. Not only was the temperature astonishingly high, but the pressure was also very shocking. Lu Ming would be dead for sure if it was any one of the two, let alone when they were combined. Lu Ming had no chance at all. At this moment, not only were Lu Ming's 4 limbs burned to ashes in the flames, but the rest of his body was also about to turn into ashes. The Azure Demon King laughed coldly as he shot towards the lava. Although he did not obtain any opportunities from Lu Ming, it was not bad to be able to kill him. In the blink of an eye, the Azure Demon King had rushed up the lava lake and flew above the darkness. "How's that kid?" someone asked. "We're dead. Let's go. Well, explore this ancient city and leave," the Ashen Demon King said. With a flash of his silhouette, he left the place, and the other 3 followed. At this moment, Lu Ming had indeed encountered the greatest crisis in his life. At this moment, his physical body was about to be completely turned into ashes. The most important thing was that he could no longer mobilize his strength and could not charge forward. His body was completely covered in demonic fire. It was a peak true emperor demonic fire that wouldn't be extinguished until it burned its target to ashes. Chi. Lu Ming could clearly feel that his physical body was collapsing, disintegrating, and being burned to ashes. There were 3 wisps of chaotic chi in his body. At this moment, 3 wisps of chaotic chi slithered like 3 small snakes and then rushed into one of the Saint Hearts. Enter the Saint Heart. Lu Ming used his soul power to move the Dian Elixir Furnace and the mountain and river diagram into another Saint Heart. Then, Lu Ming's soul also rushed into another Saint Heart. As long as the soul was not destroyed, there was always hope of resurrection. In just a few breaths, Lu Ming's body was completely burned into ashes by the demonic fire. He disappeared without a trace, leaving only 2 Saint Hearts floating there. After the demonic flame burned Lu Ming's body to ashes, it seemed to have lost its target and finally disappeared. Not good. In the Saint Heart, Lu Ming's soul could still sense everything outside. At that moment, he realized that the lava outside was squeezing his 2 Saint Hearts. The 2 Saint Hearts collided with each other. The lava outside wrapped around the 2 Saint Hearts and pressed on them, as if it was going to crush them. The terrifying temperature in the lava was also constantly burning them, as if it was going to melt them. Lu Ming was worried. If his 2 Saint Hearts were melted, he would have no chance at all. "Chiu Yue." Lu Ming muttered and glanced at the Dian Elixir Furnace floating in the Saint Heart. If his Saint Heart had been broken, leaving the Dian Elixir Furnace here, he was afraid that it would not have been able to withstand the terrible heat outside. Although the Dian Elixir Furnace was wonderful, it was also dangerous in such an environment for a long time. The original purpose of this trip was to save Qiuyu, but before she could wake up, she was in danger. Buzz. At this moment, his 2 Saint Hearts trembled, and one of their outer corners shattered. Boom. Lu Ming's soul trembled violently when a corner of his Saint Heart crumbled. It was as if a terrifying flame had enveloped his soul. Could it be that I'm really going to die here today? A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. At this moment, he felt the aura of death. His soul trembled and his consciousness was blurry. In the end, his vision turned black and he did not know anything. Only his 2 Saint Hearts were being pressed by the terrifying lava. However, a strange scene happened. The parts of the 2 Saint Hearts that had crumbled did not dissipate into nothingness. Instead, they stuck together and flew back into the Saint Hearts. Buzz. and NBSP whoosh. As the lava pressed and burned, more and more of the two saint hearts crumbled, but the fragments and powder fused back together and flew back to the two saint hearts. It was as if the two saint hearts were about to merge together. Of course, Lu Ming had no idea about all this. Following that, his saint heart continued to shatter and then merge back together. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. 3 days ago, he had two saint hearts, but this time, he had only one. It became a bigger saint heart. Buzz. When the two saint hearts became one, there was a wonderful fluctuation. Then, the bigger saint heart started to spin rapidly. At this moment, a strange power was produced in the saint heart. The energy in the surrounding lava was constantly gathering toward Lu Ming. A few days passed just like that. A wonderful scene appeared. With the saint heart as the center, the outline of a body appeared. This was just an outline, not a real entity, made of energy. When the outline of the body appeared, 3 wisps of chaotic chi flew out of his saint heart and swam around the outline of the body. At the same time, the energy in the magma continued to gather and pour into the saint heart. Then, it spread out from the saint heart and poured into the outline of the body. The outline of his body was slowly becoming more and more solid. Reforging his body. He was reforging his fleshly body. When the two saint hearts merged into one, they were actually reforging their bodies on their own. Moreover, they were reforging their bodies with the energy in the lava. The process of reforging the body was very slow. Just like that, 3 whole months passed. In the lava, an intact body appeared. This physical body was Lu Ming's. However, this body was a little different from the previous one. There was a fiery red color on his skin, like a burning flame. The curves of his body were perfect, but he seemed to be filled with explosive power. The 3 wisps of chaotic chi had also fused perfectly with his body. At this moment, the Buddha's fingers moved, and it slowly opened its eyes. This is... Lu Ming looked around in surprise. Finally, he looked at his own body and was very shocked. He remembered clearly that he had been attacked by the Tsang Demon King and his body had been reduced to ashes in the demonic fire. Even his saint heart had been crushed by the lava, his soul had been shaken, and his consciousness had fallen into darkness. He didn't expect to find his body still there when he woke up. No, this body is a little different from before. The next moment, Lu Ming felt something strange. He realized that although this body was also made of flesh and blood, it was much stronger than before. The 3 strands of chaotic chi had perfectly fused together and were filled with explosive power. At the same time, this body seemed to be unafraid of the surrounding lava. It was as if he was one with the surrounding lava and the surrounding lava was ineffective against him. It was not that Lu Ming's physical body was so powerful that he was not afraid of the magma's temperature. It was because his physical body was reforged by the energy here. They had the same energy, so he was not afraid. If it was any other force of the same level, Lu Ming would definitely not be able to withstand it. Chapter 2062. Chapter 2062, Law Fusion. Chapter 2062. Chapter 2062 Law Fusion. My fleshly body has been reforged. Lu Ming pondered for a while and discovered the problem. He could not help but be overjoyed. Although he didn't understand how his physical body was reforged, it was a good thing. No, my saint heart. At this moment, Lu Ming finally realized that something was wrong with his saint heart. There had been 2 saint hearts before, but now it had become one. It was just that this saint heart was larger. Could it be that the 2 saint hearts have fused together? Lu Ming guessed and was extremely surprised. He had never thought that the 2 saint hearts cultivated by the twin forbidden spell could actually merge together. Moreover, Lu Ming realized that not only had he reforged his physical body, but his cultivation had also improved. He had reached the perfected absolute saint realm. Not only that, but Lu Ming also realized that after the 2 saint hearts had merged, his 2 types of laws had also completely merged together. Previously, the array Dao laws and chaos laws were only at the initial stage of fusion. Now, they were completely fused. The complete fusion of the two laws will definitely increase the power. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with surprise. This time, it was really a blessing in disguise. Not only did he not die, but he had also made a breakthrough in his cultivation. His physical strength had also increased greatly, and the two types of nomological laws had fused. He had heard that martial emperor powerhouses had to take this step. Martial sovereigns had to comprehend different laws before they could merge them together. He was already doing what a martial emperor would do. If the Azure Demon King knew about this, he would probably be angered to death. Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint smile. Then, with a thought, the mountain and river diagram and the Dian elixir furnace returned to his consciousness. The prison-suppressing steel bloodline and the third bloodline are still there. Lu Ming sensed the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and the third bloodline. He was surprised to find that they were still there. He had never been able to understand these two bloodlines, but he felt that they were very wondrous. This time, even his physical body was destroyed. After reforging, the two bloodlines were still there. This was really hard to explain. It was extremely mysterious. However, this was a good thing for Lu Ming. I don't know how long it has been, but the energy here is very abundant. I can let Celestial Emperor's corporeal body absorb the energy here. At the thought of this, Lu Ming had an idea. The Celestial Thearch's physical body appeared from the mountain and river diagram. Then, Lu Ming activated his cultivation technique and began to control the Celestial Thearch's body to absorb the surrounding energy. The Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was like a black hole, frantically absorbing the energy from the outside. The Celestial Emperor's corporeal body absorbed a large amount of flame energy from the lava. Not long after, with Celestial Emperor's body as the center, all the energy in the lava was absorbed, and it turned into rock. Lu Ming could only change the location and continue to absorb. The amount of energy required by Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was simply too much. It was incomparably shocking. Back then, Lu Ming had spent more than half a year. During that half a year, he had been constantly fighting against the evil god race. Every time he killed the evil god race, he would give the crystals that the evil god race had brought along to the Celestial Thearch's body to absorb. During that half a year, Lu Ming had killed countless evil god tribesmen and allowed the Celestial Thearch's body to absorb countless crystals and energy. In the end, the energy in the Celestial Thearch's body had only accumulated to 12%. Moreover, the more the energy of the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was accumulated, the more difficult it would be to improve. The amount of energy required would be even more shocking. Just like that, Lu Ming continued to absorb energy under the lava. A large area of lava turned into rocks. 2 days later, the energy in the Celestial Thearch's physical body increased to 8%. This was because the Celestial Thearch's physical body had already stored a portion of energy. 8% isn't enough. I need at least 10% and above. The higher the temperature is under the magma, the more I can absorb it. Lu Ming had an idea and then went down. As long as he could store more than 10% of the energy in his body, Lu Ming would be able to control it. By then, he would be able to fight against a great emperor. The chances of obtaining the eternal demonic coffin would be greatly increased. Also, the Azure Demon King. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold, murderous intent. He had to kill the Azure Demon King. Lu Ming rushed to the bottom of the lava lake. The temperature at the bottom of the lava lake was shockingly high. Even the Azure Demon King had to retreat, which showed how shocking it was. Even though Lu Ming's current physical body was reforged by the energy of the magma lake, he did not dare to go too deep. Otherwise, he would be turned into ashes. Lu Ming did not want to experience the feeling of being turned into ashes again. This time, he was lucky to have his body reforged. Next time, he might not be so lucky. This is the place. After diving for a while, Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure and stopped. He controlled the Celestial Thearch's body and began to absorb energy. The energy here was indeed much more abundant. When he had finished absorbing the energy nearby, Lu Ming moved to another place and continued to absorb. Of course, it was just a shift in skill level. Lu Ming did not dare to continue. A few more days passed, and the energy in Celestial Emperor's corporeal body skyrocketed, reaching an astonishing 16%. It was 4% more than the last time. Enough! Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. 16% of the energy was absolutely shocking. If he were to fight the great emperor of the He clan again with this kind of energy, he would definitely beat him into a pig's head. Lu Ming decided to leave this place. Most importantly, the energy above the lava lake had almost been completely absorbed by Lu Ming. The temperature was too high if he continued to go down. Lu Ming did not dare to go down. Furthermore, he had no idea how long he had been here. How were the ancient emperor and the others doing? Did they find the ancient demonic coffin? Lu Ming kept the celestial thearch's body into the mountain and river diagram. Then he broke through the rocks and rushed up. After a while, Lu Ming left the lava lake and landed on the shore. He swept his gaze around but did not find anyone. It seems that the Azure Demon King and the others have left. One don't know how long it has been. Let's look at the map first. Lu Ming pondered, took out the black jade talisman, and infused his holy power into it. Instantly, a black pattern floated in the air. There's a situation. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The rest of the black pattern was pitch black, but there were some light spots shining in the darkness. This meant that someone had to activate the jade card to see it. In one of the places, there was a group of light spots. There were at least 100 of them, and they were all shining. In other places, there were spots of light moving toward the group of spots of light. So many people are gathered together. Could it be that the ancient emperor has gathered them all? Lu Ming pondered. This meant that the ancient emperor had yet to retrieve the ancient demonic coffin. Let's go! Lu Ming kept the jade card and dashed out of the city. When he passed by those buildings, he could still hear the roars of beasts and there were claws attacking him. However, Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and passed through the buildings without any danger. It did not take long for Lu Ming to cross the entire ancient city and exit the city gate. Kill! When Lu Ming charged at the demon spirits, they charged at him. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.